Whoa.
backdrop.
Do you have hair?
This is as much as I get.
Did you see Drew Brees on NBC?
No, I didn't.
He has like a brand new hair.
Must be.
He's been balding like in the last few seasons, but he showed up on NBC last night with a full head of hair.
Wow, that's what that NFL money will do for you.
Or that media money.
Oh, I have no idea what he's up to now. Is he going into commenting and announcing? Someone says no big screen tonight. That's right.
Yes, he works for NBC now. He is like I think he's going to end up being the new Chris Collinsworth.
Oh, wow. Are you a pro or anti-Chris Collinsworth guy?
I am the president of the anti-Chris Collinsworth club. I cannot stand him.
All right, I want all the listeners to know this show tonight's probably going to have a little edge.
Oh, good.
So everybody brace yourselves. We're going to be keeping it truly on here.
You're not distracted by screens. It's just you're just focused on like your edgy opinions right now.
I still have a screen, just a much smaller one than usual. Okay? All right.
Last night I was like keeping track of the things he said because I cannot stand Chris Collinsworth. He was like, I remember this play he made in college, and I will never forget it. And it was like, what are you talking about? You'll never forget a play in college from a random player? He's just so weird.
Wow, okay. Look, I knew you'd have a strong opinion on that one way or the other.
Is anyone like a pro Chris Collinsworth? I don't think I've ever met anyone who's like, yeah.
I just didn't realize he evoked such strong negative emotions because, like, to me, Joe Buck and Troy Aikman are the ones that are totally unbearable to me. So
I've heard that a lot.
Yeah, not a high bar, not a high bar for for Chris Collinsworth to come over. So
Twitter does not like Chris Collinsworth and Joe Buck. That is a fact. Those two are the two most hated. I think everyone loves Romo.
Yep.
And Al Michaels and I'm trying to think who else. Jim Nantz. Like a lot of those guys are like loved by everyone, but there's a few that are widely hated.
Would it surprise you if David Owens said that Collinsworth is the GOAT? Blasphemy.
Did he say that? Oh my gosh, David, just
the chat has also named Booger McFarland to that crew as well.
He is terrible. I don't even take him that seriously though, because he's only been around for a couple of years, and it's almost like so bad that I don't even. But Chris Collinsworth's been on that show for like forever, and it's like, how is he still there?
Okay, well, good. Glad we got that out of the way. All right. Let me welcome everybody to the show. Obviously, it's Friday, September 10th. Josh and I are pretty close to each other geographically. Christina and I are in Vegas for the Industry Summit. Josh, as always, in Arizona. And we're in a hotel room. What floor are we on? The 19th floor? We're way up there.
That's classy.
I've been in a long time. Yeah. Okay. All right.
Where you guys stand?
One of the MGMs. Signature. MGM Signature. All right.
You're too good for Truly, man. That is just you guys should be drinking like champagne or some shit.
How about Nestle Splash lemon flavor?
That's what I'm talking about.
Okay. Announcements.
We're back.
We're back. I'd like to send a shout out to the Sports Card Therapist podcast and the host Rob, who had me on to talk about Card Ladder this week. Check him out. Any announcements? So much happens over 2 weeks. Are there any Card Ladder related announcements that we have to make right now?
I'm just wrapping up the ability to add an image of the back of your card to Card Ladder, and also to upload custom images for cards that are in your collection but are tracked by Card Ladder. If that makes sense.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. I need the backside images.
The serials.
Yep.
And the custom images for the front, because people don't want their image to blur out the serial. They want their actual card, their specific copy. Sometimes the serials are on the front. Totally get it. That'll be live very soon.
No doubts. Any other announcements? I can't think of any right now.
Nope.
Okay. Mail day. Do you have any mail days?
I'm trying to sell this. This is next to me.
An opposite mail day. That's a Michael Thomas Prism Gold Rookie BGS 9.5. That's a badass card.
There are some nice cards coming down the pipe that I need to build up some cash for, and this is my style. I pull from the bottom and I sell it and add to the top.
That's all you can do. Must be nice if that's the worst card. That's the card on the bottom.
Yeah, I don't want to give too much away, but this is near the bottom of the pile, so.
Gotcha. Okay. All right. So let's get to questions. All right. We have a ton of questions. J Spot Hawaii wants to know, how does it feel to be back? Can we talk about being gone for 2 weeks? This wasn't the first time we took a break. We've taken weeks off before, but I got dozens of messages from people like not pleased that we took the week off. Can we talk about this a little bit? Is everybody okay out there? It's Friday night. You can do one Friday night without crossover.
I took it as a compliment how mad they were. I got DMs that are like you said, people are angry. They should be. I was angry too. Freaking fantasy football. I mean, I posted a story this morning. You don't realize how much you miss something until you lose it for a week, and it honestly feels like it's been a month since we've done the show. It's crazy.
Okay. Trusted Cards wants to know, this is a serious card ladder question. Does Card Ladder have access to see people's collections that they add, or are their collections private? Those collections are private. I don't know if Josh can shed some tech light on that.
Yes. Kind of a pretty decent topic given what's going on in other companies around the space. It is private. It is only viewable by you, and it's behind your authentication, so no one else can conceivably ever get to it. We have the data stored on our servers. We do not look at that data. It is behind your own personal user account, so we do not look at that data.
There you go. Good question. From Trusted Cards. Trusted Cards, you can trust that your collection is totally private.
I think the question though maybe is like, will it be public for the purposes of seeing other people's collections for trading or things like that? We've thought about it. We're a little bit skeptical about that idea because there are so many mediums where that's a thing. Like, and we're not really wanting to get into the space of like being a gray area of a marketplace yet. So we've just kind of stayed away from it. Anything to add to that?
No, that makes that makes complete sense. All of your data, even something like what cards are in your collection, is completely private. If there ever were to be the opportunity to make it semi-public in some respect, it would be completely opt-in, and you would have to elect to do it.
100%.
So, Christina, turn that down a little bit. I hear an echo because she's listening in the other room. Okay. Kitty Cards wants to know, with the start of the season now upon us, what is the favorite football card that each of you own? Obviously, I'm teeing this question up because I got a football card in this week that's my favorite. Do you want? Maybe I'll let you think about it, and I'll do mine. And then
do your mail day, man. No,
yeah.
Go ahead.
This is my mail day. All right, I got this card this week. This is 2017 Christian McCaffrey Optic Gold Vinyl, rated rookie, 1 of 1. Had to go to Louisiana to get that card.
Wow.
Went to Shreveport, Louisiana, and the seller met me halfway. Shreveport was halfway, basically. So that is my favorite football card.
Is that your first ever 1 of 1 rookie?
No, I have 1 of 1 rookies of Luka too, but nothing of the magnitude of Optic. I consider that to be one of McCaffrey's 3 or 5 best cards, and I don't have anything that you could consider Luka's top 3 or 5 best cards, or even close. So that is my favorite football card. What's your favorite football card?
Well, congrats on that. That's a big pickup, dude.
Oh, thank you.
Well, I got this upstairs, hidden away, but this is a football card. Let's see, 2007 Finest Gold Refractor. You know how much I love Finest. You know I love gold. You know I love receivers. This is my favorite of the bunch.
Yeah, that card is awesome. Beautiful design on that card. Good old BGS 9.5 as well. While we're on the topic of football briefly, the Cardfather 13 sends into the chat, what did you think about Thursday Night Football? Did he watch the game last night? He says that Brady and Dak put up huge numbers, but the running games were lackluster. Yeah, I think Dak threw 58 passes and Brady threw 52. Wait, any thoughts on last night's game?
Yeah, I watched the whole game. They were throwing because it was working. I don't get why everyone's freaking out about the running game. Every time they threw the ball, they got 8 yards. Like, why would you run? When they run, they get stuffed. It's like the D line of the Tampa Bay Bucks was really good, and their secondary was weak, so they threw a lot. It's like they couldn't stop it, so they just kept doing it. The only problem the Cowboys ran into was they just couldn't convert in the red zone as much. They were like +3 on turnovers. The Bucks had 100 penalty yards. The Cowboys outgained them, and they still lost. So that's kind of the greatness of Brady. When he gets close, he just converts. They scored touchdowns every time, and the Cowboys didn't. That was the game.
Okay, now what about maybe the push off on the back shoulder pass to that first down there that ultimately led to the field goal on the game-winning drive?
If you'll remember last year, the Cowboys lost in week 1 to the Rams on a similar penalty in the reverse. They actually got called for the push off and lost the game. And this time, they didn't get the penalty. It was close. It wasn't as egregious as people maybe are dramatizing it to be, just because that makes for a better story, is to make it that way. But he was like extending almost all the way. The announcers said it should have been a penalty. I don't know. In that situation, I like to let them play it out if it's not egregious. It didn't seem egregious to me.
Okay. Well, I chose to engage with that question from the chat because it dovetails nicely into our first main cluster of questions of the day. And we had over half a dozen questions on this topic. Tom Brady. Thomas Edward Brady. Okay. I think that's his middle name. All right, let's go. First question or first comment comes from Power Reels. He says, no questions, but let's talk about the Brady market, please. Putnam Cards wants to know, where does the Brady market go from here? Mm-hmm. Okay, so, and then Slabs for Hayes says, is Tom Brady a good buy? Laughing emoji. Let me just cram in one more question here that kind of fits. Drake's PC says, Brady's market has appreciated 700% over the last year. Side note, that's according to the total market index for Tom Brady on Card Ladder. It's up 700% over the last year. If that was the case with LeBron or Michael Jordan, you'd hear people screaming that it's time to sell. However, I still hear many people saying that Tom Brady is a buy. Was he undervalued for so long that he's more properly valued now? Or do you think that people saying he's still a buy after a 700% increase are trying to build and maintain values? Okay, so general thing, where's Tom Brady market going? We get the gist of it. There's a few more questions, but let's start with that cluster. What do we think about the Tom Brady market?
Well, the 700% number, you gave the disclosure, but it is fairly accurate because we are tracking 234 Brady cards. That's quite a bit. He's one of our highest tracked players, obviously, as he should be. This happened with Mahomes last year. Like, he won the Super Bowl and his prices kind of like dipped like right after the Super Bowl, and then just saw like an unbelievable rise up. I mean, a lot of that was just because the whole market went up, but Mahomes cards went kind of bananas leading up to last season, and the same thing happened here where he won the championship, the supply increased, so like prices kind of stayed kind of flat and then went up a little bit. And then leading up to the season, it was like, holy crap, Tom Brady has 7 fucking Super Bowls. Like, is there anyone more unanimous of being the GOAT for their sport? Other, like him, Jordan, it's like he's in this like super rare air of like untouchably, unquestionably the greatest football player of all time. And it's like, we've gone through this period of people buying base cards and buying soccer prism and like going through all these phases, and eventually like people definitely got smarter in the last couple of years, and they're like, why am I doing all this garbage? Just buy Tom Brady, just buy Michael Jordan, and just fucking sit back and just watch it go up. And so everyone kind of did that at the same time with Brady, and his stuff went insane. So that's the lead up to like the justification for it going up. I think, reasonably 700% is a little bit insane. So I would expect, just because of just how insane that number is, I would expect it to pull back quite a bit. But again, like that's not my opinion on Brady. It's more so like my opinion on when things get too hot, they tend to settle back down. Or, we've seen so many middle fingers. I don't know if Brady's going to completely middle finger. It's probably more of like a Fleer Jordan scenario where people just went ape shit to get one, and then it was like, well, maybe it's not that high. Like, it's still really high, but maybe not that insane.
No doubt. Okay, that's a lot of good thoughts there. Yamwax says you might be new to the hobby if you're buying Brady this week for a quick flip. Okay, good. That's tugging at a thread that Josh was spinning there. What do you think about this idea that, because I see it on Instagram, that sort of basketball continues to set the marker, and then football's analog catches up. So whether we're looking at the top prospects, and then football collectors sort of see what the top basketball prospects are going for, and the analogous card of the top football prospects, tries to catch up. Or in the case of Brady, LeBron is sort of seen as the active analogy. Both guys are older, but still playing at MVP level. And so, look, if a LeBron 2020 Prism Gold PSA 8 is selling for $100,000 with gold in, then shouldn't a Tom Brady Prism Gold be at least half that type of thing? What do you think about that idea here? Is that, because to me, if that is true, then, basketball is setting a marker, but it's also setting a ceiling. And so you have, then, it is, you can kind of have a cheat sheet and like look at the analogous basketball player and say, well, football, the top prospects are about 80% the value of the top basketball prospects. That's probably going to hold true for GOATs. I could see people thinking that. What do you think about that thought process here? And does that really put a cap on where Brady's prices can go?
It's an interesting thought for sure. I know that's kind of where people are reaching. Brady seems to transcend that idea a little bit. I know like the LeBron sold for, I think it was like 90,000 or something crazy for the PSA 8, and the Brady is like the analogous card basically, and it sold for only half. So like it still is holding true that the basketball market is outpacing football by quite a bit. And Brady's definitely more unquestionably a GOAT in his sport than LeBron is to basketball. So like you could argue Brady, if basketball and football were equal in price, Brady's prices would be higher, right? So like it's true that basketball is definitely outpacing. I think that's just more so to do with the number of collectors. Like you and I always just kind of go back to like how many collectors does something have, and there's probably just more worldwide collectors of basketball than there are football, and it's probably just as simple as that. I don't know that it's much. Like this topic has got me thinking about another point I wanted to make, and I really don't like. I guess we'll get into the hot takes already. I really don't like when people get into this like, well, if this is worth this, then that's worth that. Like I think that's just like a really silly way to like pump your own cards. It's just like a really conceited, shady way to be like, my card is actually worth a lot more money than it was yesterday. It's just a really shitty way to do it. I don't like it. And I know a lot of people do it. It's, I just don't like it. I think the actual way to think about it is like, as a Brady collector, let's like really simplify it down. If you collect Brady, you've been collecting for, let's just say, a while. What's the most you're willing to pay for one of his cards? And to me, it's just as simple as that. It really is just like, if someone really wants to buy that Prism Gold for $50,000, then fucking buy it. And that's what that person is willing to pay for it. And that's just what it is. Like, that doesn't mean that your select is now triple. It doesn't mean that like your Patrick Mahomes is now doubled in value just because of this other ancillary purchase. It just means that someone that really wanted that card, who's a Tom Brady collector, paid $50,000. That's what it means. It doesn't really necessarily mean you need to like pump all these different like cross section things, like relatable things. Like that's kind of where you're going with it. But to me, it just kind of really boils down to like who's collecting this stuff and how much are they willing to pay for it.
Yeah, no doubt. And it always is an interesting surprise to see. Like I think about Bob M. Track as one example, or Tim, Exquisite Collector. These guys have been picking up LeBron cards through his whole career, and they always are willing to pay market value. But I'm always impressed at the extent of the budgets of these great collectors because they're still paying market value even when cards are up 10, 20, 30x. But they just want fairness. You know, they just want to pay the fair market value at any given time. And I think you're seeing that with Brady collectors too. And I think one of the things that enables these collectors to do that is they've built up so much equity in their PC over the last 15 to 20 years that they can feel much more comfortable paying current market prices because they've realized that appreciation in their collection itself. But that, to your point about what is the collector willing to pay, that always amazes me, just how the cap on card prices keeps going up, but the collectors still come out in full force to buy the cards. And that's when you want to take notice, though, is when have the collectors stopped buying these cards, and now the people buying them are looking to flip or, you know, treating them as financial instruments, and the collecting thing has sort of left the space. That's when I start to get a little bit nervous.
Well, that's why cards have been sustaining so well, is because, to your point that you made a minute ago, was like the collectors who actually want to own these items. That's the important part. They want to own the item. They don't just want to fucking make money. The people that actually want to own this stuff are very willing to pay these new prices, and they are still willing to pay more and more and more. And a lot of it obviously is people paying some of the stuff, you know, they ran onto eBay and bin stuff at 10K hoping to flip it for 15. There's obviously a lot of that going on. But in order for something to sustain as long as it has over the last few years, the only way that's possible is if there's actual buyers who actually want it and are willing to pay that new price. Once the collectors are no longer willing to pay these new prices and the hot potato is stopped, that's when you'll see prices come down. And we've seen it a million times where the ceiling ends up being where people want to get out and take profits, namely collectors who got into it for, like, you know, a fraction of what it is, where it's like, okay, I'm out. I love the card, but this is where I call it, and I have to take the money instead of the love of this card. That's when you know something's overpriced. And, you know, I don't want to get into it too early, but that's what makes me nervous about this NFT stuff, is like nobody actually wants to collect it. So when people start selling off, you're going to see the bottom fall out because nobody actually wants it. There's no collector there to stop the fall, right? It's just people that are like panicking, taking their profits as much as they can and getting out.
No doubt. No doubt. That's a great breakdown of that topic. It was pointed out by KPB Cards in the chat that the Stacking Slab episode today is a great listen to get some insight into Brady collecting. And yeah, Brett has had a number of episodes with Brady collectors bringing all different types of perspectives. And it's a great subscribe. And Brett has been talking about the Brady market, the football market, the Peyton Manning market for a while. And if I could take one pearl of wisdom from what you just said, maybe it's kind of look for the cues from collectors. If collectors start feeling like it's time to sell stuff, like, look, you know, let me say something a little spicy. When Spinatron sent his Kobe PMG Red to Golden, that's when you knew the top was in on Kobe cards. Spinatron doesn't sell anything. Okay, right. When Spinatron sold a Kobe PMG Red, the top was in, boys. The top was in. So look at and that proved to be true. Kobe's total market index has come down since then. So take a look at the key Brady collectors and keep a keen eye towards what they're doing. And we also ask that collectors in the Brady space and guys like Spinatron have that transparency for us. You know, if you're selling stuff or whatever, you know, like Spinatron did, he made it crystal clear that was his card. So, okay. A few more questions on Brady here. South Park Cards 2 would like to know, do you think that the Brady Prism base PSA 10s that are seeing a run-up like LeBron did last summer with 2020 and 2019 Prism base selling for 1,000 in PSA 10, are the Brady Prism base seeing a run-up that's similar to the LeBron last summer, the Prism base PSA 10 stuff?
Implying that it's going to go back down?
Yes.
I have to look at the population. You said 2018?
He was talking LeBron 2020 and 2019.
Which has like an insane population.
Yeah.
Like insane.
The Bradys aren't nearly that high. I think we do have every Tom Brady Prism base and Prism Silver in Card Ladder and all the grades. Like I know 2012 Brady Prism base. I don't know the pop, but I know those PSA 10s are getting up to 4 figures.
The 2018 Prism Brady base PSA 10 is about 45, and I think LeBron's is like 8,000. So like, I mean, I would guess that people are going to start sending that stuff in, right? And maybe that's what he's getting at, is like people will start sending it in, and we'll see the population increase. We'll see the supply go up, dramatically, and we'll see the prices go down. I'm not sure exactly. I just don't know the Brady market as well, and I know football, especially with Prism, is a lot more rare than basketball. So like
silvers and just total print runs up until at least last year anyway.
And you and I don't own any Brady cards, by the way. So like we're just gonna kind of shoot it straight with you what we see. I don't own a single Brady card. I think I've owned like 2 in my life. The football stuff is quite a bit more rare than the basketball stuff. And you and I have been talking about the football stuff for a long time. And we've been talking about like making sure you buy the best players like a lot on this show. So, if that wasn't a hint of like buy Mahomes and Brady and feel pretty safe about that, like, we're not fucking telling you to go buy Baker Mayfield and Josh Allen at the peak. This is Tom Brady we're talking about.
No doubt. Oh, that reminds me. I wanted to make a distinction, because sometimes like we'll use the phrase GOATs, all-time best players in their sports, but maybe people have different definitions of those words. So like there's really a handful of athletes, period, that really fit the word GOAT. Yeah, I mean, you've got Tom Brady in football, who's continuing to do something unparalleled. And then maybe you shoehorn in Jerry Rice, Joe Montana, maybe, right? Like maybe. Okay, so even if there's a question, you just kind of say, look, Tom Brady is just kind of in a class of his own right now. That's not to take anything away from Peyton Manning or any of the other all-time great players, who, not taken away from their skills either. Aaron Rodgers. Maybe if these guys were in different situations, they'd have whatever. But that's not the point. The point is the way that the legacy has unfolded. Tom Brady's kind of in a class of his own in football, as Josh was saying. In basketball, you've got Michael Jordan, LeBron James, Kobe, and then maybe you shoehorn in Wilt, Kareem, Bill Russell. But those guys come from a different collecting era. So I've named like 4 guys basically: Brady, Kobe, LeBron, and Jordan. And then hockey, you've got Gretzky. Baseball, you've got Mantle, Wagner. Okay, so the list is small. There's when we say GOATs, we mean it. It's not this all-encompassing, expansive list that extends to Grant Hill or something. Like, forgive me, Grant Hill collectors, right? But it's not like this like huge thing that's just like everybody. It's not every Hall of Famer.
If Brady's worth this, what is my Grant Hill worth?
Okay, right. I know. Okay, so that I just wanted to make that point crystal clear too. Like, if you're out there in the market and you're looking at like, okay, who are the best players that really are highly collectible and like have untouchable legacies, and they're going to stand the test of time as historic figures that changed the game or that defined the game. It's a very small list of players. Is that fair?
Yeah, there's definitely there's tiers to it, right? Like the tier you're describing is like the ultra untouchable elite of the hobby, right? Because people will probably tell you like Mickey Mantle's not the best baseball player of all time, but you're talking about like the elite of people that are collectible and they meet all this criteria to be a hobby elite. And then, they got the different tiers or different groupings. Prospects, even like Mahomes falls into the prospect world a little bit. He's got a ring. Giannis, then you can kind of go down the line. And then there's like sort of the GOATs of their sport, but they're not as collectible because, Tiger Woods, golf, Federer, tennis, like those cards aren't as collectible. You've got Lewis Hamilton, F1, not as collectible, right? So like there's all these different groupings and categories, and there's probably some fucking Venn diagram or some shit.
No doubt. Tiger Woods was mentioned in the chat as well. Brian Scalabrine, he may be somewhere on that Venn diagram.
But Tiger Woods cards suck. Like, he's got like 5 cool cards. Then there's probably a Tiger Woods collector in here that's like, fuck you, man, these cards are awesome. But like in the broad scheme of like comparing him to like MJ and Brady and stuff, like his choices of cards aren't as he doesn't even have like a true rookie. Like that upper deck one is like 2001. I think he won the Masters in like 96, didn't he? So it's not even like a true, and the Federer cards are fucking awful. So
Yeah, no doubt. And a last thought on Brady's market expansion. So it was listening to Stacking Slabs, and Brett was recapping Brady's total market index on Card Ladder. And he's like, it's up, 50% over the last month. And I was like, well, I wonder what its appreciation is over the last year. And I go to the index and I zoom out on the app, and I'm like, is this right? The number was the value of the index was like 75,000 a year ago, and now it's 550,000. And I was
68,000 a year ago.
And I was like, oh my Lord, this market has gone up 8 times or 700%.
It definitely started after he won the Super Bowl. After he won the Super Bowl, it's just been like a steady, it's been like a flat up, flat up, flat up, flat up.
And when we talk about the Brady market a little bit, all the Brady collectors come out of the woodworks because they've like been holding on to this secret. And maybe they didn't have metrics to quantify it precisely, but they all knew all these Brady cards have 8x'd over the last year, or many of them have. And they all knew it. And so then like a spotlight gets put on it, and they're all just like, the cat's out of the bag here. But to me, it's a great story for the hobby, because if you look at the CL50, a great Twitter account, MT&T Trading, was using the CL50 to measure the intra-month rate of growth or rate of depreciation. So he would measure from June 1st to June 30th, what did the index do? From July 1st to July 30th, what did the index do? And August was the first month of intra-month positive growth since January. Okay, so within the month of January, the index, it must, or maybe it was since February, because there was growth going on in January and February. But basically, it had been like 5 months of the index going down within each month. But August, it finally turned around. But Tom Brady, totally different story. Mm-hmm. Tom Brady's market was on a rocket ship to the moon. So there are certainly markets within the overall market. And Tom Brady is not like some hidden gem, like, oh, this was just a prospect that panned out, or this was a set or a brand that came out of nowhere that nobody could have seen coming. This was the best football player of all time, who just won his 7th Super Bowl. Is anybody surprised that even as the sports card market as a whole was experiencing turbulence, Brady's market was pretty much uninterrupted appreciation to the tune of 700% over the last year?
Yeah, and when the question was asked, like, is basically the question is alluding like, is Brady's market going to middle finger? Is it going to crash? And it's like, probably not, because even like seasoned guys like you and us, we can't even get the sentence out of like, yeah, it's going to crash back down. We don't, because it's just like it's Tom Brady, man. Like, what are we talking about? Whereas like, F1, soccer, Prism, some of these things that just like on the surface, as someone who's been in cards for all, that don't make any sense. Yeah, the middle finger makes sense, because like, why did you're like all hype, whereas Tom Brady has like a huge swath of collectors. They're gonna hold these prices up for a long time, because they're like, yeah, fucking finally this stuff's worth this much. I'm gonna keep buying more because it's Tom freaking Brady, and I love Tom Brady. So like, do I expect his prices to come down? Probably, because 700% is insane. But I'm not expecting it to like get cut in half, over the next couple months. It's not gonna just like completely crash, because it's Tom freaking Brady. It's the same. And like, if there's Jordan guys out there, LeBron guys, myself, if you guys are getting jealous, you're getting FOMO for like Brady, just chill out. Just wait. Your time will come. It's freaking Michael Jordan and LeBron James. Like, it's the same thing. What are you worried about? This shit's gonna go up. You're gonna have your day in the sun eventually. It's just like, it's Brady's time right now. It's week 1 of the NFL.
No doubt. Eventually, I think Brady will get subsumed into the overall market trend as well. I think that he just was catching up, might be a way of putting it. But eventually, he's going to come under the constraints of the overall market trend as well, eventually. Okay, so Social Card Work wants to know, and let's play devil's advocate for a second here to wrap up the Brady topic. What would it take for the Tom Brady momentum to slow down or is he now permanently enshrined as a store of value?
I mean, he had 6 Super Bowls before the last one. What else do you need to see from the guy? Honestly, like he's fucking 44. To me, his story's been written for the last 4 years. I don't know what else you need to see from Tom Brady. Same for LeBron. Same for Jordan. I just like, what else do you need to see? They've done it. He's done it for 22 years of like unbelievable sustained excellence. It's like, if you're just now thinking Tom Brady's the GOAT, I'm sorry, but that's insane. He's been the GOAT for like 5 years now. What was the question? Store of value? What was the question before that? I feel like I had something to say.
The question before that was, what will it take for Brady's momentum to slow down? Can that happen?
I mean, he's probably gonna like lose a game this year, like eventually. I just was kind of laughing at like, you know, basically people are, like you said, people are trying to flip his stuff today. It's like, really? How are you gonna flip something that just, 700% went up? That's gonna be really tough, especially given that like last year we have a ton of data around prices going up like crazy leading up to the season, and then once people started losing games, which will happen, prices start to go down. So do I like the Bucks will eventually lose a game? There's going to be a moment where people are like, "Oh, is Brady too old? Is he over the hill?" It's going to happen at some point this year, and that's when people will sell off potentially, and like there's been a ton of profits. People will sell off. Like the market, like you said it. The overall market sort of dynamics will play out eventually.
Totally. Okay. Fun final question here from South Park. What will last longer, Tom Brady's career or Panini's license with the NFL, which expires in 5 years?
I think even Tom said that 45 was kind of the realistic point. But I mean, after last night, I'm like, God, dude, I'm actually not that big of a Tom Brady fan. After like 20 minutes of hyping him up, I really don't. I'm not a big fan of his. I wasn't rooting for him. I never really have. But I got to call it like I see it, man. He looked like he's got 3 or 4 more years in him last night. It's like he threw a fucking 50-yard strike to Antonio Brown in the end zone. It's like Manning was not doing that at the end. Breeze was not doing that stuff last year. Brady's still doing it. I don't understand how it's possible.
No doubt. Okay. Next topic, a few questions on the topic of influencers. So the Burbs PC would like to know, what are your comments on how many influencers have recently gotten paid sponsorships or sponsors and the effect that it has on their content? Many podcasts have struggled with how to approach this or explain it to their audiences. And so then I followed up and I was like, what do you mean? Like, what struggle? How have they been struggling? And then Blessing Breaks followed up and said, well, one concern is preferential treatment. So if someone is sponsored by a certain company or a grading company, then they get to cut in line and their cards are graded on a more lenient scale or something like that. So basically, in a nutshell here, the question is, what do we think about influencers receiving sponsorships and the possibility of impropriety and how to properly explain this stuff to audiences?
Well, I want you to speak on this more than I do, so I'll just give like my quick.
Sure.
I feel like I've been giving all the takes tonight. I'm gonna give you some time. I'm just gonna break it down very simply on my response. It's any influencer, any individual influencer or group or team like you and I are, put all your stock in the people themselves. Like if you like the people and you like what they're saying and you trust that no matter what comes their way in terms of sponsorships or deals, you know that they're going to stay true to who they are and you're going to still believe in them. That's what you want to stick with. If you're not sure and they're sort of wishy-washy on stuff and their content sort of sways based on where the money goes, and you just got to make your judgment on the people. And that's what I say about companies. Like if you're going to invest in a company or like put your faith in some sort of company, who are the people that are running it? Who's in charge? Who's the leader? Who's going to be the foundation of this company? And it's always goes back to like who has the leadership? Who are the people? And I would just say go for that. I'll let you jump in on that.
That's great stuff. I don't have too much to say here. I think audiences need to be respected. The intelligence of the audience needs to be respected. The audience doesn't need to be told what to think. The audience should just be given the chance to know what any potential biases might exist. So if there is a sponsor, it should be named clearly and defined clearly up front. And anytime there's a potential of the sponsor, influencing an outcome, it should just be disclosed that, look, we're sponsored by so-and-so, and we're also in a business relationship with them or something to that effect. And let the people have the facts in hand so they can make decisions. I think that's always going to be the best case scenario. Be completely transparent, let the people have the facts in hand, and let them decide what they'd like to decide. And it obviously goes without saying, content creators, and I don't think they do, don't do anything unethical. It's very easy. Don't be unethical. It doesn't even need to be specified more than there. And so, in terms of sponsors and content creators, they're going to exist, and it's going to happen more and more because content creators have the pipeline to the audience. And we know how important it is to have a pipeline to an audience. That's one of the reasons. It's not the main reason we come live Friday nights. The main reason is just because we love this stuff and we pull off steam. But one of the reasons we come on live and talk Friday nights is because we know it's really important to talk to the community and to be in the community, right? So content creators have a pipeline to audiences, and sponsors and companies know that that's really hard to build, and they want access to it. Okay, and so if they can't build it themselves, then they'll buy the access, and this is going to happen. This is going to continue to happen, right? So, all right, that's all I got on that topic.
I pumped the shit out of Chipotle. You're right.
And he's not even sponsored.
I'm not sponsored by Truly, and I keep fucking putting the can here, and these losers won't even listen. I was just gonna add that, like, you and I both do this full time as our career, so like we naturally need to make money. So like we have to figure out some means of making money, and some of that is partnerships and sponsorships, and we tell you guys those immediately. But if you think that one partnership with a Truly, let's say, is gonna change me, you're fucking crazy. So like my life and the way that I like to live it and the way that I make my opinions and stuff has nothing to do with, like the money behind it. So, I mean, if you haven't figured that out by now, then you're not going to like this content.
No doubt. All right. Sniper Manus asks a question that relates to this. Who is card porn and why are they anonymous? And so the connection here is that card porn had a post earlier this week that named some content creators and their sponsors and brought up the point that how can we hold content creators accountable? How can we make sure that there's, full transparency among sponsors and content creators? And I love the idealism of it, because even though we're in this little unregulated space of sports cards, we have these extremely lofty, noble ideals of perfect transparency, zero corruption, total fair dealings, perfect ethics. And like on the one hand, that's such an absurd expectation because this is such a small niche area and there are many opportunities ripe for exploitation. And it does happen. But on the other hand, it's the perfect testing ground for holding ourselves to standards that our government would never meet, that big corporations would never meet, that multinational corporations would never meet. In other words, we're asking, and I think rightly so, our content creators and our sponsors to be the paragon, the ideal essence of proper behavior when it comes to sponsorships. When we're talking about sponsorships that are a couple $100 or something very light, and that's great. This should be a breeding ground, a testing ground, and we should want and impose the highest standards possible. So that's sort of what this is in reference to, and it's a fun and it's a good question. Some of our content creators like Jeremy Lee came up with great responses to this question, and then Mike Geo had a great response to it too. People took it in different directions, but all the directions made a lot of valid points. one of the points that Jeremy made that was great was like, look, I'm happy to tell you who my sponsors are. I wear my sponsorships as a badge of success. Know my integrity will never be questioned, and I have nothing to hide from you guys. So that's terrific. Mike Geo took it in a different direction, which is the direction I want to elaborate on a little bit. And he said, isn't it a little bit hypocritical? Isn't it a little bit ironic that card porn, self-appointed watchdog of the hobby, who has brought light on some very important issues, but it's starting to trigger people's irony radars when card porn is calling attention to the fact that we need transparency and accountability among content creators with their sponsorships, because card porn is anonymous. We don't know what biases might exist with card porn, with whoever it is who's writing these posts. We don't, okay, great. We would like accountability. We are going to have this idealism in terms of the ethics of sponsorships in the sports card world. So guess what, card porn? The buck stops with you. We need to know what your biases are. What cards do you own? What players do you like? What companies do you prefer? Even if those biases don't manifest themselves in card porn's content, we need to know as an audience, we deserve the opportunity to know that they might exist so that we can be the judges of whether or not those biases come into play. So, and I don't want to take anything away from the fact that card porn being anonymous does enable them to call out certain things that would be more difficult to do if an individual or a group of individuals had to be personally accountable for it. And there is something to that. There's something to anonymous journalism. But by the same token, the irony radar goes off when card porn is calling for transparency, when card porn itself does not practice transparency. And so I'll say one final thing on this, because Sniper's last part is why are they anonymous? And the first part was who is card porn? I respect card porn's right to be private. And I don't believe that any individual should go out and say the name of somebody, even if they know it, if that person is private. I think you should respect the person's wish to be private. And it's not quite doxing, but you should not dox people on the internet, or you should not give over their name if they don't want their name to be known. But by the same token, if card porn expects people to play by ethical rules and then cast stones while living in a glass house, they should expect that there's going to be some blowback there. And that if you want transparency from the hobby, here's the best way to get it. Lead by example. If you want the total transparency in this marketplace and you're worried about sponsors influencing and biasing content, we need to know what possible sponsors, what possible opinions, what possible personalities, what possible motives are operating behind that account. So I don't know. There, I gave enough takes to match yours from earlier.
No, yeah, I don't want to jump in too much. I was just gonna add a clever, sarcastic, shitty comment of like, when that whole thing went down, I liked Jeremy's approach, which was just like, yeah, fuck, great. Those are my partners. Who gives a shit? I know. Well, he didn't say it like those ways, so I'll say it for him. It's like, yeah, these are my partners. I like those people. I partner with them. Sometimes I profit from it. Sometimes I don't. I'll just tell you what I like. It's just, like I said earlier, it's just about like the person. Do you trust the person, right? Like I like Truly. I don't get paid by them. I like Chipotle. I don't get paid by them. I like My Slabs. I like the people. We have a partnership with them. We benefit from it, and I like them. Like, of course I like them. They're good people. I don't know what to tell you. Like, we're partners with them because they're cool. It's not like this big secret where we're like pumping something behind the scenes and profiting, in some sort of like shady way. I'm not sure what the implication. I read that whole post and was like, yeah, what's bad about that? I don't understand. This is great. Are you implying this is bad? Because it seems pretty cool to me. Like all these dope companies partnering up with like cool people. Yeah.
Good. Okay. So good.
Well, mostly dope companies.
Okay. Good. Good there. Christina has chimed in for the first time here, minute marker 50.
You're
okay.
welcome.
So I think that's enough on that topic. Do we have anything else that we want to say on this? Because I do want to reiterate that it is good that we want our content creators to be completely accountable.
Sure.
We do want that. But guess what? certain people don't get to exempt themselves from that standard if they call for it. If you want total transparency and total knowledge of what biases might exist, what favors might be given, what interests might be impacting content creation, lead by example, or else, you know, understand that there's a bit of hypocrisy there. There's a bit of hypocrisy there, and it takes courage to claim ownership of your content, especially when it's unpopular or it's going to have blowback.
Yeah, I was gonna just you lawyered the hell out of this one, so like you nailed it on all the fronts and spoke very intelligently about it. So I don't really want to jump in too much, but your anonymity is fine until it becomes hypocrisy. So
Well, there you go. Josh just summed up my whole thing in just one line. That's great. Okay. All right. Cardboard Chronicles wrote in with a topic for this week.
He's not allowed to do that.
He is allowed to
wait,
do that.
Cardboard Chronicles or Cardboard Chronicles 2?
Or Cardboard Chronic less.
Old Les.
Cardboard Chronic. Nope, not Snoop Dogg's account. Cardboard Chronicles wrote in and would like to talk about the death of NFTs.
I mean, I said it earlier, when that stuff starts to go down, and I will, you know what? I'm going to give my friends who know more about this than me, there will be a segment of NFTs that doesn't crash. Because I do believe there is like a certain segment of it that, like, you know, has some people who are actually behind it. They've been behind it for a while. You know, they believe in it. There's a certain gusto to it. But as Gary Vee said, like 95% of it, when that stuff starts to go down, dude, it's going to fucking crater. Because same as Top Shot. When like you have no belief in something, you're only doing it to make money, and the money starts to go down, you're just going to sell and sell quick, take as much profit as you possibly can and get the hell out of there. And we've seen a little bit of like some of the hints on it, on some of that stuff, middle fingering. We've seen like the daily sales volume of NFTs go way down. We've seen the index, that one that you found, go down quite a bit. I don't know, man. I'm nervous for some card guys who jumped over to that just to make a quick buck. Just be careful. Be careful on like the projects you're jumping into, and make sure you know the history of it. Make sure you understand who's collecting it. I'll say that with a little bit of a sarcastic tone, because I'm not sure anyone's collecting any of that stuff, but there may be some pieces of it that are collectible that I'm not seeing, and so try to find that area as best you can.
You know, being a skeptic of something is a very thankless and unglamorous position to stake out, because when you're a skeptic of something and the thing is doing well, everybody is dancing on your grave. Oh, look at how well this thing is doing. The skeptic was wrong. Everything is good. Everything is happy. Everything is going well. But you know, when it gets even worse for the skeptic, it gets even worse when the skeptic is right. And because skeptics are in a certain sense doomsaying. They're prognosticating that things are not going to go in the optimistic course that other people want it to go in. And so if the skeptic is proven to be right, there's no happiness involved in that. There's no joy in that. Oh, I'm so thrilled that I predicted this other team. I'm so thrilled that I predicted this other team would lose the game and then they lost. Let me go to all the fans of that team and tell them how happy I am. So I think that like the skeptic of anything, you know, needs to be respected. But you think there's a little bit of fun in being a skeptic. Is that fair?
I mean, I'm a little bit of an asshole, so like I do enjoy being right. You know, like I'm not a completely selfless person. I am a little bit of an asshole, and I'll own that. So like, you know, if I think Top Shot's going to take a dump and it takes a dump, I'm going to enjoy it a little bit.
Well, then you are calibrated to be a skeptic, because it's so much easier to be the optimist. It's so much easier to just say, oh, your thing's doing great. And even though maybe part of your common sense is telling you, something doesn't seem quite right here, You don't say anything. You just say, oh, great. Best wishes to you. Hope everything goes well. And then you make no noise. You ruffle no feathers. And, oh, this is great. And then when things go bad, you just sort of quietly walk away. Nothing to see here, folks.
The Homer Simpson.
Right. So it's very easy to be the optimist, and it's you ruffle no feathers and everybody likes you. But the skeptic performs a different function. And skeptics aren't always right, but it's difficult to be a skeptic because you're going against the grain. So I think about that in the context of NFTs. Like, look, why nobody wants anybody to lose any money ever. Can we stipulate to that? But the tricky part about NFTs, man, and I have to always check myself because I like collecting cardboard with pictures of athletes on it. So I always have to check myself. But I look at the NFTs and I say, something is not adding up here to me. I cannot reconcile this. I was reading an article about NFTs last night, and it was discussing how a 14-year-old kid was making logos that he was selling for $20 on Discord. And then he decided to mint an NFT. And some of the other artists in the community got behind and supported it and bid on it when it went to auction. And it sold for $30,000. And so to me, that's like a good scale. A $20 logo, the creator of that, the artistic talent of that person, makes a $30,000 NFT. And I read more of the article, and the article was a lot about, it was about teen artists who are making and selling NFTs for hundreds of thousands, if not millions of dollars. And it was, to me, that makes no sense that this guy's logos are going for $20 and his NFTs are going for $30,000. So, that is a market inefficiency of the highest type. And I think that little anecdote sort of is emblematic of what I see in NFTs if they're considered collectibles. How are they more, what is the collectible, what is the intrinsic collectible value of these items vis-a-vis all the other collectibles out there? Whether it's physical art, whether it's whatever the case may be. You run down the laundry list of collectibles. To me, something is not computing here. And there's an absurdism to it. Because eventually, we're going to get to an NFT that's just one white pixel. That's the whole NFT.
Or a fucking rock.
Or a rock. There's an absurdism to it. There's an irony to it. There's a nihilism to it.
Did you see the test one? There's one where a guy wrote the word test, and that's the NFT. And it sold for a ton.
It's almost like we're being collectively trolled. But to get super meta just for a second, I'll step back and I'll say, but we're in this period where nobody knows anything for certain. We're in this pandemic. We don't know when it's ending. We don't know how it operates, how it came to be. We don't know when it's over. We don't know if more variants are coming. We don't know why our is still humming along. Will it continue? There's just so much uncertainty on both sides of many issues. And it's like that uncertainty is like breeding this total disregard for anything traditional or historic or tried and true. And it's just, we're in this period of great uncertainty where we just don't know and we don't trust anything. So why not invest in a rock, a JPEG of a rock? Or, we have this newfound wealth, like that article was that I was referencing with the kid. The kid's dad was like, "What? This money can't be real. What do you mean you got this many ETH for your rock, or for your NFT? This money, this can't be real money. Let's take this money and put it in a bank account. Prove to me that this money is real." There's just this sense, and then of course the money is real. The money is real. I think it was $60,000 or $30,000. It eventually got up to $60,000, and so they took the money and they paid off his parents' house, and they started paying down bills and stuff like that with this NFT money. They took the money out, and so you have all this money tied up in crypto, and just crypto, like I was talking to a guy in Clubhouse the other day. He says in 20 years, crypto's going to be worth X. I'm like, how the hell do you know what crypto's going to be worth in 20 years? How could you possibly say that? How can you possibly tell me what crypto's going to be worth in 20 years? I think we're in we're in a delusion right now. We are in a mass hysteria that is making us lose our freaking minds. All right.
We don't know if we're going to be on this planet in 20 years, let alone the exact price of fucking crypto. I was just going to add that, like, to play devil's advocate and side with some of these folks a little bit, it's like there's probably going to be pieces of it that emerge. It's kind of like when, you know, people went crazy on Prism Soccer, and then, like, some soccer stuff actually emerged as, like, okay, this has some actual staying power. I think there's probably going to be some stuff that emerges out of NFT that's, like, you know, stuff that was, like, made a long time ago and was kind of before the silliness of it. And there's stuff that, like, people have collected, et cetera, et cetera. Like, I don't know what those are. I don't know enough about the space, but I just feel like the issue with NFT is speaking from the tech side, is that, like, with cards, there's, like, a physical limitation on, like, the ability to print the cards with the licensing and the actual physicalness of the cards. And, like, you can't just, like, you know, like, print infinitely because there's, like, physical machines that do it. Whereas NFTs, like, dude, it's so fucking infinite. I could just make a trillion of them, like, tomorrow, and, like, there's nothing you can do about it. And, like, any Joe Schmo from their basement can make an NFT. That's the problem that I have with it. It's just so, like, the supply is literally infinite. And so because someone can make one that's like a fucking rock and a test and V friends and all, like, it's just too much. So if you're gonna jump into just buying some random ass one, you should be extremely skeptical of that. And, like, how am I making free money by making a logo that I made $20 on last week? This makes no sense. Versus, like, okay, I'll just use CryptoPunks because it's the only one I actually know. That was made, I think, like 4 years ago or something. There's, like, a little bit of history. Some people have some stories behind it. Whatever. Like, there might be something to CryptoPunks, but everything else, it's just so infinite. And the argument that I kept bringing up on that live with Max and Anthony was, like, they were making their points, but the question I kept bringing up was, like, you know, I've heard the argument that, like, oh, NFTs are built on the blockchain and there's, like, some actual technical usage to it, like some function to it. And I'm like, what's the function? Like, the crypto being on the blockchain is, like, supposed to be a currency, but NFT, there's no function. Like, it's on the blockchain technically, but that doesn't mean it has a function. Like, you're actually just like using the blockchain as, like, a fancy technical term to try to make it seem more important, but there's not actually any function. It's just a flex. It's just a store of value. It's just prospecting on something being a currency, but you're not actually sure. So to say that, like, it's on the blockchain and using that as a crutch to say that it has some functional future is totally guessing. It's just a made up thing. Like, crypto is, like, 99% of the coins and all that shit are completely random and made up. Just in the same sense that the US dollar is made up. You know, it's like, it's just paper, but there's actual confidence in it. There's history to it. You can't just have, like, infinite fucking currencies. You have to have, like, few that people have confidence in. So just to say, like, oh, it's on the blockchain, it'll fucking be fine. Yeah, but there's, like, a trillion, infinite, million fucking bazillion of them. It's not going to work for all of them.
No doubt. Let me wrap up by playing the devil's advocate to my own position as well. I like that you pointed out there is some artistic integrity to projects like CryptoPunks and other projects that I'm sure I know nothing about. You know, there's been a movement in music and modern art, like artists like Jeffrey Koons, whose work is mocked and derided by more traditional collectors of art, but his pieces command incredible premiums and have earned a spot in art history. And so maybe that is afoot here, and maybe something is happening that just is not, I'm not capable of understanding, or that just doesn't make any sense to me. And I think part of that is because I'm so settled into a hobby of collectibles that I love that I have zero need for another hobby. I have zero need for another asset class word of the week. I don't need it. I'm so preoccupied with this hobby, and there's so much yet for me to achieve. And we're in certain sense, like from a card ladder point of view and from a collector point of view, there's so much left to be accomplished that I don't need it. So maybe that's part of the reason why I don't understand it, is just because I have no motivation to want to understand it.
Sure.
But anyway, good.
You're more pure than I am, Chris. I've like dabbled and tried to get into some of these spaces. Like I tried to get into video games. I've tried to get back into Pokemon. I've looked at some of these things, and like I spend the time. I try to like understand it. I'm not saying you don't do that. I'm just saying that I get suckered into researching it more than you do.
Sure.
Because I'm less pure. But like before I go to buy it, I'm like, I just don't care. Like I just I really wanted to get back into Pokemon, and you've heard me talk about that in our private DMs, where I'm like, I'm looking at it, I'm researching it, and like when it comes time to buy it, I'm like, God, there's a fucking million of these things. I just like I could get these at any time. I got to go back to, Penny Hardaway's serial number to 50, where like it comes up once a year, once every other year. This is my passion, and like, we're already in our 30s, dude. I don't really have time to like waste away my years trying to fucking understand JPEGs and like, you know what I mean? Like that's the get off my lawn kind of thing. But like I only care about what I care about at my age. Just like I know what I like, I know what I don't like. Whatever. If you don't like it, who cares?
Fair enough. Oh man, if somebody would have told me a year ago we'd be spending 15 minutes on something called NFTs.
Can you please get to a question of someone that asked like our favorite underrated 90s insert set or some shit? Like,
yep, now we're getting to those. All right, so let's Cards and Candy 911. Bring us back.
Oh, thank God. He's going to save the day, as always.
Yeah, he has the key question, the question of all questions. His question is simply, what makes a player collectible? And I put this question in the stack in this order because it really is sort of the core question at the heart of NFTs, of anything, of sports cards. What makes it collectible? So Cards and Candy 911 wants to know, what makes a certain player collectible? That's a very difficult question, but it's a good question.
Man, that is a great question. A fucking fantastic question. Of course, the Hall of Famer. There's like a bunch of different things, right? It's not just one thing that makes a player collectible, and it's like whoever hits on the most of all these categories is going to be the most collectible, you know what I mean?
Right.
And I'm just thinking about players that are collectible and why are they collectible. The first one I'm thinking of is Steph Curry. He's collectible because he's different, and people can relate to him that he's not this like uber athletic 6'8" behemoth running, 4.2 40. And I think that's collectible, right? Like someone that can overcome the odds. I'm thinking of Brady being a 6th round pick. People love sort of that like fuck you attitude of like, I don't care if I'm not a 1st round pick, I'm gonna get there on my own. And then there's LeBron. Like he's collectible because he's something that we could never be, right? He's like a superhero almost. Like he's faster than anyone will ever be. He's bigger, stronger. Like there's that piece as well. Then there's like the Michael Jordans and the Kobes that are like, those guys have they've got that little bit of extra it factor. I don't know what it is, but like when I see them, I just I love it, right? Like they have the killer instinct or whatever. So there's all these little things that make people collectible. And then like I was thinking of Dennis Rodman. What makes him collectible? The dude's he's a wild card. He might do something insane at any moment, and he's got that like entertainment factor. Why do people go see? Why do people go watch WWE wrestling? Because it's got that kind of little bit of craziness to it. Where you don't know what's going to happen. Same with like Allen Iverson and Ron Artest and Russell Westbrook, where it's like, I don't know what this guy's going to do tonight, but I just want to see it, right? And then I'm thinking of Penny Hardaway. Why was he collectible? Even though he had if you look at it, his stats aren't that impressive. He's not going to even make the Hall of Fame. Why are his cards so dang expensive? Why am I spending all this money on Penny Hardaway? Because he had like a little bit of that flair, right? He's got a little bit of that like flash to his game, and he's got like the marketability with the commercials, and he's like You know, he's like a fun person to watch. You know, he seems like a good person. So there's all these different things. I'm rambling at this point, but I don't know. It's just a lot. It's like human emotions. You can't quite pinpoint what it is about it. You just kind of know it when you see it.
Dude, that's exactly right. You do just kind of know it when you see it. And sometimes things like this should never be totally deconstructed, or they should not totally be made explicit, because
Tried.
I know, and like it's good that we can't 100% articulate it. To me, the angle that I would take on it is, you know, a simple heuristic for how collectible a player is how often do you think about them? So like if they're a historic figure, you know, that has certain records that other players are always threatening to break, or that has a certain prestige or a certain legacy that the other players are being measured against, that player is always going to be front of mind. And so they're collectible because they're always relevant, they always matter, they're always present, so you're always thinking about them. Another way of putting it, how memorable are they? So maybe they don't hold a bunch of records necessarily, but there's something very memorable about them, like a Dennis Rodman, or to some extent a Penny Hardaway. And Penny Hardaway kind of has both. So he was a very memorable player who was very flashy and adored in the 90s and was very popular. And then he's also front of mind because he's a successful head coach with Memphis's basketball team. So Penny Hardaway has a little bit of both. And then, you know, for active players, we want to hear about the guy that we're collecting. We want to hear about him every week. We want to, there needs to be a media narrative surrounding this person, an arc surrounding. That's why I think I never got into collecting boxing, even though I like boxing a lot. And anytime I watch boxing, I'm like, man, I love this sport. But we only talk about the fighters twice a year. They're just not front of mind. They're not front and center. And that kind of takes away from the collectability of it, as a sport in general and as the individual players. But I hope I'm wrong about that. You know, I'm waiting for like the 3 comments in the chat that are like, actually, you know, boxing, Floyd Mayweather, blah, blah, blah. So fair enough. But those are some of my thoughts. Collectability is really tied to like players that we naturally are going to think about often.
I like that think about, because that reminded me of another category, which is like highlights. Like how like pleasing are they to the eye? Not only like their looks, but their, you know, their dunks and their 50-yard touchdown passes. That's a big part of it as well. Like I think about LeBron a lot because I love his highlights. I love going to YouTube and watching his insane dunks, and you know, I love watching Michael Jordan's crazy fadeaways and his tongue sticking out and all these like flashy things that makes the videos and the content of him great. So I like that, like thinking about them, seeing them on videos, and especially in like the modern world of, you know, YouTube and Instagram and everything, we see those guys more often because their content is like more pleasing to the eye than, you know, like not to pick on Steve Nash, but like, you know, someone who's, you know, he's got layups and his highlights and assists and stuff. It's not as flashy as like monster dunks, and so that's an interesting thought as well.
Good. Okay. Lots more questions to get through here. Putnam Cards wants to know, do you think Panini is going to mail it in over the next few years because they ruined Select, in his opinion?
I mean, that's not really mailing it in. It's just like them overprinting Select is like a stance from them to say like, we're clearly in this for the money and like not quite thinking about this long term for the collector. So like that's not mailing it in for them, but it is appearing that way to us, and it kind of ruins it for us. I would just say I would expect more of that. I would just expect to see more parallels, more like contrived, tacky things to come out of them, and like less long-term thought. And I don't even blame them for that, honestly. Like if I lost the license, what sort of incentive do I have to like care about the collector 20 years from now? Like my job is to please shareholders for the next 5 years.
No doubts. The only thing I would add to that is I think Panini probably already was simply pleasing shareholders ever since they got the license. So for that reason, I don't think much is going to change. I think they're going to try and produce the economically optimal amount of cards so they can maximize the amount of money they can make over the next 5 years. And I wouldn't rule out the ability that they continue making cards, whether because they're acquired or because there's some sort of sub-licensing agreement with Fanatics. So I wouldn't write off Panini quite yet either, and I certainly don't think anybody at Panini is writing themselves off either. There's a lot yet to be determined. Hopefully we'll learn something at the industry summit this week.
This is why the fucking gold prism stuff setting records, because the collectors are smart. We're seeing what's going on, and it's like, fine, you can print the shit out of whatever you want. We're just going to focus on the ones that we actually care about, and we're all going to collectively decide what actually matters, and you don't get to decide that for us. And you and I have been saying this for years. It's like, figure out what's going to be the historical sets and cards, even from this like lame duck period with Panini. There's still going to be stuff in the next 5 years that's going to be collectible over the next 100 years or whatever. Like, figure out what that is, and I think we basically know what it is based on Panini's past history, but like, just focus on the basics.
Good. Well said. All right. Drake's PC says, we always talk about the hobby being a marathon and not a sprint, but are there times when you should sprint for a card, and what would make you do that?
I saw that question, so I'm cheating. I've prepared. You should sprint. So I have a perfect example of a sprint, and it's like a sort of a humble brag, but whatever. I don't have a better example. When I bought the LeBron RPA, I spent all my money. I spent 6 months of time doing it. I spent all of my like brain and like physical powers that I had in my life to get that card. You know what I mean?
Yep.
And then the penny green popped up 2 days after I spent all that money, and I was like, fuck, shit, god damn it. I turned it into a sprint, and I went, you know what? I'm going to pull money out of my freaking retirement. I have to get this card. I can't make this a marathon. I can't wait. I have to get this card. This is like, I'm never going to get the penny green PMG ever again. I have to fucking do it today. And so I literally pulled money out of my retirement account to get it. And I'm not ashamed to admit that, because I don't regret it. I have that card. It's my favorite card. It's the best penny card ever made. It's my favorite serial number. Like, it's just like, you got to sprint when you feel this is my only shot. And that's what's great about cards. To me, those are the cards that are the most collectible to me, Chris, is that the ones that's like, when that moment comes up, right? The one-of-one McCaffrey optic. I don't have to, what? That's the only fucking one. What are you going to do? You're going to marathon that card and like save up for it and wait for the next McCaffrey. It's like, that's it. This is your shot. Sometimes you got to sprint. That's it.
Perfect example. All right, next question here. This comes from Borderland.cards. What is your plan for a modern PC such as your Christian McCaffrey collection? Have you thought about when or how to exit, or is it a long-term play? I'm holding a similar PC, and I'm interested to hear your thoughts. So Borderland has an amazing Aaron Jones collection, and I saw some of it today. It's incredibly good. Look, I should make this clear. Yes, Josh definitely did just drop the mic right there. I should make this clear just in case it's not crystal clear already. No matter who or what player I'm collecting, there is never, for better or worse, a profit motive. There is a collector motive. Something in me makes me and Christina, as a team of collectors, want to just get these cards and build a collection of this player. We don't want to lose money, and we never want money to be lost for anybody's collection, and not for ours. But the purpose of the McCaffrey collection is not to ever exit it, and the purpose of the McCaffrey collection is not to see it go up in value. Hopefully it doesn't go down, but if it does, it does. So I have a difficult time with this question at its basic level, because I've never thought about an exit plan of the McCaffrey collection. All I think about is entry plans. How can I enter this card? How can I enter this card? And then, so one thing that naturally has occurred to me is, like, I've been learning and growing the Christian McCaffrey market, and now I don't necessarily want all the McCaffrey cards going back to when I first started collecting them. Now, I have a clear set of goals, and the goals has changed. And so to that extent, like, the exit plan that exists is, if I get tired of a card or I don't want a card anymore, and especially if I can use it to consolidate into a better McCaffrey card that I want for the McCaffrey collection, then I'm going to do that. But that's as far as I've thought about an exit plan. Now I chatted a little bit more with this guy in DMs, and basically what he's thinking is like he's got a huge Pelican case, just 3 rows of just sick Aaron Jones cards, and so he's thinking more practically like, crap,
Yeah.
I've acquired this incredible collection, but I might not want all these cards someday. Is there like a strategic way to liquidate some of these or to get rid of some of these? And I think Josh is better equipped to answer that than me. But the only thing I would say is like, don't overthink it. Don't over worry about it. If it comes time to sell a card because you don't like it anymore, send it to auction and sell it. Send it to auction with a good, reputable seller and sell it and move on. It doesn't need to be any more complicated than that. And if you do find yourself stressing or feeling like you have too many cards of a player, maybe it is time to sell some of them and let somebody else own those cards. That's about all I've got for that question. Do you have anything to add to that?
Yeah, I am well equipped to answer that question, the last part, and then I want to get to something else I wanted to say.
Sure.
I know exactly what he's talking about with like, I've got this case full of stuff. I'm feeling like I can't really reverse this necessarily, but I still like Aaron Jones. Like, what do I do? You know, I want to make money, but I also like Aaron Jones. It's like this weird, I know exactly what he's talking about. Consider consolidating down to like your top 5 or 10 Aaron Jones, and like maybe you already have those cards, and maybe you don't. And if you don't, sell some stuff to go aggressively and get that top 1, or consolidate down to 5, take the extra money and go on your next thing. Because I guarantee you, in 10 years, 20 years, when you're looking back, you're gonna wish you kept the best of those Aaron Jones cards. But you're also not going to be that sad that you don't have a million of them anymore. And you're going to be happy that like, oh, I've got these 5 that I can really easily consume and like go through and have nostalgia and enjoy them without having this fucking pile of cards. That's just my take on it. You know, some people like having piles of cards to look at. So if you don't necessarily jive with what I'm saying, just maybe think about it. And I wanted to also point out, this might be the nicest thing I've ever said about you, Chris. When I was looking through those comments, and the person who posted that asked about the Aaron Jones, asked about you, or they like referenced C-Mac, and your immediate comment response was like, "Tell me about your Aaron Jones PC." And you might be the only person. I like to think that I do this as well, but we might be the only people in the freaking Instagram card world that like don't just consistently talk about ourselves all the fucking time. And I'm literally begging everyone listening, please like spend some time this week, the next month, whatever, asking someone else about their PC and like putting yourself in their shoes and like trying to understand someone else and not fucking constantly making it about like, what's my Tom Brady gold worth this week? Because I guarantee you're going to end up being a lot happier. You're going to be a lot more sure of yourself as a collector. And I don't know. I saw that and I was like, damn, I know I partnered up with the right guy, because everyone else would have been like, oh, here's what I fucking do. Do what I say. And I even just did it. I was like, oh, I have this great advice. Fucking consolidate 10 cards, when you were like, dude, tell me about your Aaron Jones PC. What do you think you should do? Maybe I can learn something from you instead of me just fucking pumping my shit onto you all the time.
Well, on the DMs, I told him to trade all his Aaron Jones for Christian McCaffrey. So. Yeah, that's great advice. That's good advice. It's a tough thing. So this bleeds into the next question. This comes from International Gala 2030. Thoughts on buying NFL running back cards as an investment, not a PC? I'll give my point of view. Again, I think Josh is a wiser person on this topic than me. But my point of view is that running backs should not be conceived of as investments. Maybe there's a very small slice of players like Barry Sanders or Jim Brown, somebody who has those collectible hallmarks that we were talking about in a previous segment. But other than that, dude, running backs, they have very short shelf lives. Things can change in a moment's notice with a running back, and it's the next guy up. Look at like Le'Veon Bell and then James Conner and then Harris now in Pittsburgh. I mean, these guys just cycle through. So that's part of the nature of what a running back is. And then are running backs collectible? You know, are they always front and center and front of mind? And Gale Sayers, Walter Payton, yes, there are definitely some transcendent running backs from history. But the running back position is very different today. Lots of teams operate by committee out of the running back position. These guys are viewed as largely interchangeable. I just don't think that there's strong investment prospects at the running back position whatsoever.
Yeah. I'll just like use this topic to kind of like give the same advice that I always give, which is like, if you're going to invest, if that's your goal, invest in the known, right? Invest in something that's already happened, and that's Barry Sanders, that's LaDainian Tomlinson, that's Jim Brown. Like, don't try to speculate on anything, and that's why Brady and LeBron and Jordan are such great. Specifically, I'll touch on like the topic of Brady and LeBron being good investments, even though they're currently playing, because we already know it's already happened. Like, they could both just like completely fall off a cliff over the next 6 months, and it would not much would change because they've already established who they are and what they are. So like, invest if you're going to invest in the known, and you'll do a lot better. If you're going to invest in freaking like, Kamara and Saquon Barkley, I mean, you might win, you might lose. We don't know. It's just like a total gamble. Most likely in the running back, and specifically on this topic of running backs, you're like pretty much like gonna lose. Even like Derrick Henry, you're probably gonna lose. I was buying Todd Gurley. That stuff is like completely worthless now. It's like, if you're gonna, running backs are the riskiest prospect you could possibly do. But I don't want to say running backs are a bad investment, because there could be different lanes of running backs who we know have already done the thing. Barry Sanders, LaDainian Tomlinson, Jim Brown, Emmitt Smith. That you could find some areas to make some cool investments.
Yeah, no doubts. Also, okay, here's the flip side of the coin. So we were just talking a little bit about, I think Yam just summed it up nicely. Yam said, beyond the greats, everything else is either collecting or gambling. Totally right. And so here's the flip side of this coin, though. Because Josh didn't reinvent the wheel with what he just said. What he gave you is an articulation of common knowledge. And this is how it's been towards running backs for a long, long time. So the flip side of the coin is running backs are cheap. And from the collecting point of view, if you like, look, Christina and I will never have the best Michael Jordan collection. We will never have the best Luka collection. We will never have the best collection of anybody who's a great or a super top end prospect. We won't even be close. But we could have the best Christian McCaffrey collection. We could have that one day. And and Maxi Kleber.
That's worth something, dude.
It is kind of cool. It is kind of cool. But look, even that task is proving freaking expensive. So be warned on that as well.
McCaffrey's no bum.
No, he's not a bum. He's not a bum. But that's the cool part. That if there's anything that I want to like share that I have excitement about with collecting running backs, it's that it's much easier to climb that mountain, and you actually could become the best collector of that player. You could put together the best collection of that player if you really focus at it. Because the hard part isn't necessarily paying for this stuff; it's finding the stuff, and that's a whole different avenue. So that's the okay. Are they good investments? No. And there's also a gamble involved as well. But from a collecting point of view, it's fun because it's cheap. It's cheap.
How many times have I said on the show, man, I wish I collected that guy because I could fucking build a sick collection of that guy.
Exactly.
That's how we think about it now. It's like, man, okay, where do I get the cracked ice? Where do I get the NT logo shield? Where do I get? It's like we know what to go. We know what goals, are needed to be knocked down to have that best collection, and it's like a pretty simple blueprint to follow. You just gotta find the things.
No doubts. All right, this question comes from South Park Cards. Do the Baltimore Ravens injuries, and I presume he's referring to Dobbins and now Gus Edwards, right?
And Justice Hill.
Oh my God.
3 guys.
So his question is, do these injuries actually help Lamar Jackson in terms of sports cards, because he might have an all-time season coming up?
No, they don't, because there's one thing I know about football. It's a team game. If your offensive line goes down in NFL, the whole offense is absolutely fucked. I'll tell you this from so much experience in fantasy football and cards, and it's like if you don't have an offensive line, and for Lamar Jackson's game, he needs that running back to, if nothing else, be a decoy away from him running the ball. If everyone knows that dude's running the ball every play and the rest of the running backs are terrible, it's gonna be a lot easier to stop him. So, like in NFL, that's one of the reasons Patrick Mahomes is so great. He's got really good talent around him. He's got a great coach. I'm not saying that's the reason. He's obviously great alone, but like, I don't know if he's winning Super Bowls if he doesn't have, Tyreek Hill, Travis Kelce, a good offensive line here and there, plus like, great play calling and all this stuff. NFL is definitely a team game. The quarterback has the most, sway over everything, but I don't think an elite quarterback can overcome a really bad, specific part of the team.
Good. Okay. I have nothing to add to that. All right. Next question here from In Cardboard Veritas. Welcome back, fellas. There are countless approaches to collecting, from very narrow to very broad. Examples include collecting only one player or only one sport, or the best several players from an era, or Hall of Fame rookies from one sport or three sports, or set collecting, or grails only. The possibilities are endless. Can you guys talk about how you collect, whether you would have done anything differently with the benefit of hindsight, and whether you're often reevaluating how and what you collect? Only one rule: you cannot say, quote, collect what you like.
Yeah. It's a super difficult question, but I know exactly what that person's talking about. I tend to focus on they're not really asking for an answer on like to pick one of those things, but I usually lean into the player. Like if you start straying away from the player or players, you tend to lose passion for it quickly, because like the whole point of this is that this kind of ties back to like referencing or being a representation of the player itself or the sport. So like if you get away from that, it becomes a little bit difficult to keep your passion for it. What would I do differently? I don't know. I also don't think like straying away from your main focuses or passions is necessarily a bad thing, because you can always like sell them. Like it hasn't been the worst thing ever to just buy a random card, throw a dart at a dartboard and pick a random card and buy it, because you probably did better that way than you would have like saving it, in gold or the stock market anyway. So like that's not necessarily a bad thing. And so like, following some random, hot topic passion that you have for just that 1 month or something isn't necessarily a bad thing to chase that, because it might give you ideas on how to expand and like grow into other areas. So I don't know. There's not really a good answer, Chris. It's kind of a tough question. I would just say, collect what you like. I'm gonna have to do that.
Yeah, it's so tough because like we don't know what we don't know. We have a history of collecting. We learned so many things along the way, and it got us to where we are now. If you go back and tweak something or change something, maybe you don't end up at the point you're at now. And we don't know what it could have been. We don't know the alternative paths, because there's, like he said, there are so many ways to collect. Maybe I would have been much happier as a set collector. Who knows? I don't know. I never did it. It wasn't part of my path. So it's a very... Yeah, we built some sets. Okay. Christina's taking my hypothetical and saying, nah, that's not quite true. Okay. But
technically.
But the point.
I'm just keeping you honest.
the point.
That's why I'm over here nagging.
Okay. You're right.
Like that, John. You know what? The two of you.
Okay, but the point here is that I wouldn't change a damn thing, because it got me to where I am today. And if I didn't like a part of my collection, I would sell it and I would go get something better. I find myself at a point with my collection right now where I don't want to sell a damn thing, which is a weird place to be, because then that makes it really hard to get new stuff. But I'm pretty damn happy with where the collection is at right now, and I'm just looking to add to it.
We're probably at a disadvantage being such like purist collectors, like you said, because something big comes up and I'm like, I can't really sell anything, so I'm just kind of fucked.
Yeah. Exactly. That's why, like, that's how you end up collecting Christian McCaffrey, because you don't want to get rid of any of your other stuff, you know. So, and then
You're not a billionaire, Chris. You can't just buy whatever you want. What the hell's wrong with you?
nope. There's only room for one or two of those in the hobby. He said, talk about how you collect. So, is there anything you want to talk about there? Like, is there any one sort of principle of your approach to collecting that you might be able to share?
I hope you have a better answer than me, but I just like to do the opposite of what everyone else is clamoring about on Instagram. That's just like one of my little things, I guess. You know, everyone's buying Brady. I'm gonna run the other way and go buy Luca or something, and then pretty soon everyone's gonna be buying Luca, and I'll just go buy, you know, LeBron. I don't know. I try to think of it a little bit like that. Like I really get I think of a clean way to say this. I get more excited of like carving my own path than like following whatever some dipshit on Instagram says, myself included.
Yeah, that's great. I like that. My approach to collecting is not a super strategic one. It's a pretty self-indulgent one. I just like collecting players and things that I really freaking like. And I try to tailor it to not going too far out of bounds, you know, and getting some like super obscure random card that nobody else cares about. Because at the end of the day, no person is isolated. Like, the social aspect matters, the respect of our peers matters, the market perception of cards matters, and they impact how I see things too. So, like, I don't want to go too far afield, and because ultimately I'm not going to be happy. I'm not going to be happy if I paid $500 for some obscure Christian McCaffrey 1/1 card that's only worth $50. That's not a recipe to happiness. That's zagging way too hard, or I'm not sure if zagging is the right word, but that's going way too far afield. So, like, that's sort of how I approach this. Like, the players and the products that I really like, that really mean something to me, or that really, you know, that I believe in, and then, you know, but making sure I don't go too far afield. Like making sure I don't start like start a boxing PC or something. Like,
Yeah.
Trying to go too far afield, though. Stay within the boundaries that the hobby has. Yeah, balance.
Balance. This is a show of balance, you know. It's a little bit of this, a little bit of that. We're not all NFT, we're not all, you know, Michael Jordan only. There's a little bit of balance, right? There's a little McCaffrey here, a little football there, a little Penny Hardaway. Then we got some, you know, LeBron and Jordan as the staples, like, balance.
No doubt. Okay. All right, this question comes from Slabs for Hayes. He says, on a recent episode of the crossover, Josh expressed his frustration towards the idea of a person owning multiple copies of rare
Here we go.
card.
Here we go.
Said, it appears Chris has acquired multiple copies of his Christian McCaffrey gold prisms. 2 questions. 1, do you guys think hoarding is becoming more prevalent? and 2, is hoarding more in line with a collector mentality or an investor mentality? Those are the 2 questions.
I can't believe he didn't ask the question of, like, is this causing strife in the company? And yes, it is. This is a huge fucking problem.
Yes.
That, like, one day is going to hit a head where I'm like, you know what, dude? It's either the McCaffreys or it's me.
Okay, dude. 4? Really? Yeah. Fair.
Especially, okay, fine. Some PSA 9. A BGS 9, now you're just fucking being obnoxious. Why don't you throw a fucking SGC 8 and an HGA 10 in there, and, like, we got some real problems.
Oh, well, you know, I want all 10.
Okay, let me paint you a little picture here, Chris, Mr. I Love Aaron Jones, guys. What if some person came along and was like, hey, Chris, I am also a Christian McCaffrey collector, and I don't have a Prism Gold, and I noticed you have fucking 4. Can you help me? What do you say to that person?
Probably not. I don't know.
I can help.
You're like, there's 6 others, bub.
Yeah, right. Be glad that I don't have the other 6. I know where 2 of them are. There's a guy who has the only PSA 10 Andy has a BGS 9.5. But I feel like those are too expensive, honestly. That's kind of where I'm at on those. So I'm not going to get all 10. Not anytime soon. I don't know, man.
Would you?
When I thought about it more, like, it was fun in the moment acquiring the 4. And there is something cool about having 4. And they're affordable. So it didn't require reflection of like, I don't know if I can afford this. So it really just got to the point where, like, but if I'm really asked to think about it deeply and like, is this good for the hobby or not, that one guy has 4 of them? It probably isn't. It probably is not. So yeah, what can I say? It's probably not good that I have 4. And it would be really bad if I had 10.
Let me ask you a different way. In 5 years, how many of those do you think you will have?
Oof.
10.
No. Come on.
In 5, I don't know. I don't know, man. I really don't have use for more than one copy of a card. You know, I only need one to enjoy the card. One is a little bit more exclusive. One looks nicer in the PC. I ultimately see collections trending towards efficiency. And, you know, look, there's 3 McCaffrey cards that I want. I want his rookie Prism Black Finite 1 of 1. I want his rookie National Treasure Shield 1 of 1, our true RPA, and I want the Optic Gold Vinyl 1 of 1. And then a couple cards around the periphery. A Prism Gold, a Contender's Cracked Ice, and maybe an RPA at a 99. Something like that. And then, but then, like, there's all these other ones, like the other Prism Black Finite 1 of 1s. I like that too. and the other Optic Gold Vinyl 1 of 1.
Also, like these other 50 cards.
So I don't know, man. I haven't thought this through. If that isn't like painstakingly clear, like,
So
I just
basically, like,
see card, I like card, I buy card.
yeah, right. If someone was like, I'll give you a PSA 10 gold McCaffrey and the finite black for all 4 of your golds and like a bunch of your other crap. Not crap, but like a bunch of your other stuff.
Yeah, I would do it. Yep.
Okay.
As long as the value, like, roughly, assuming the value roughly lines up, yeah, I'm doing it.
Okay, Mr. Investor.
Well, you don't want to get screwed, because if I could manipulate it some other way, if I could sell all this stuff and have cash to go buy the stuff from him and then have cash left over, then I can buy more cards.
He's got the finite black. What are you going to do? Sit there and argue with him over values?
Well, that's a good point. That's a very good point. Yeah, if the offer was on the table, you really don't have much time to mess around. You sprint, is the answer to our other question said. You sprint to the card.
All right, well, whatever. We'll see if the card ladder can survive this.
Good thing Josh can't see how many gold prisms are piling up in my collection feature. All right.
I had 4 Julio Jones RPAs out of 99.
Okay.
Now I have 1.
Did you like having the pile? Did you?
Nope.
No.
I didn't like it. I was like, these are cheap. I'm just gonna keep buying them. To your point, like, it was cheap and like whatever. I like them. I'll just keep buying them. They kept popping up. People just kept like, hey, you've been buying these. You want another one? Like, whatever. And then, it was a couple months, and I was like, ugh, I need other stuff. This is weird. I don't need 4.
Fair. Okay. Card Shop Dad says, should we give some love to Nat Turner and PSA for lowering the price on the express service level when many people said it would not happen? They did not need to lower it, but they did. And I think the reference here is the express service level was lowered from $200 to $150.
Yep.
And also any orders that had not been graded yet that were submitted at the 200 level will be graded at the 150 level.
I hope Nat listens to this. He probably won't, but like, that dude gets enough love. He doesn't need more. He's fine.
That's good. Nat has the best collection in the world, and that'll be okay. Also,
good job though. Good. That's a good move. I mean,
it is a good move.
Ultimately, like, let's be real. It's a business. So like, they're not just like giving away money. It's a strategic move to increase the number of submissions, and it's a strategic move.
I totally agree. There's definitely, it even was like hinted at in the email that like there is some profit motive.
Right.
There was some language to the extent of like, okay, we choked off submissions enough. We're grading a bunch of cards.
There's been 0 decisions in the history of business where it's like, I'm doing this to make less money.
like, okay, that's good. All right. WTF Frankie podcast says, talk about SGC going to 45 to 50 estimated business days on their turnaround time. So their turnaround time doubled. It was like 20 to 25, and now it's 45 to 50. They did not raise price, but it doubled. So is this a sign for PSA to maybe wait to go below $100 for grading any card?
It definitely means that if I were working for any of these grading companies, I would be looking at all of these things as signs, right? Because it's like I don't care what you say. I want to see what you do, and when you actually make a decision and you take an action to double the turnaround time, that means that your intake is increased, and the amount of like cards you're taking in is increased greatly enough for you to make that decision where you don't want to piss off your customers. So PSA should be reacting accordingly and saying like, okay, SGC is taking in a lot more than they were a few months ago. Let's act accordingly. Let's use some patience here for sure.
Good. Yep. The Boulevard of Cards says he just noticed that on NBA 2K22, the video game, the My Team feature lets you grade cards to get a bonus whenever you play your graded cards. They even have wait times and pricing tiers.
That's fucking awesome.
How do I invest? No, okay. So
it's basically an NFT, bro. It's like a fucking video game. It's a digital version. Come on, get with it. What the fuck?
I think that's freaking awesome. And whoever is programming this, it's like on Clubhouse, shout outs to Megatron Low, who is a video game programmer. Who worked on some big games and who's also a card collector. He knows a ton about cards and has an awesome collection. And so it's pretty cool that guys working on games like NBA 2K22 are throwing in card collecting as like a feature of the freaking game. And it sounds pretty realistic.
That stuff's been around for a while though, Chris. I remember watching one of my buddies play. I think it was like an NCAA football game, and he was like opening packs.
Yeah.
And it was like it was like not even recent. It was like 10 years ago kind of thing. And it was like, damn, cards on video games. And so that's not a new concept. And the whole digital card thing, I think it's silly, but it's been around.
Well, I just appreciate that they're teaching the new generation who's playing that game. They're teaching them how the industry works by making them get bad grades on certain cards, and putting wait times and pricing tiers and stuff. They're teaching them.
Life's unfair.
Yeah.
I can't believe I didn't get all 10s. What the fuck, Nat?
Player loses team chemistry points or something. Okay.
I saw not to get too far off topic, I saw someone make a Facebook post that was like, grading is too easy with PSA. Like, I get all 10s. This is way too easy. And I'm like, I keep seeing all these posts about how it's too hard. You guys make up your minds.
Yeah.
How about it's like completely fair and it's right down the middle? I'm going to be that guy that's like, all the grades that you get are deserved like 99% of the time.
No doubt. Okay.
It's like, oh, maybe it's like the average of all you dingoes.
There you go. Would that be so crazy if most grades are just probably fair?
What if it's just like, what if the person grading it, this is crazy, just hang with me. What if the person grading it was just like a reasonable person and like they weren't having a bad day and it was just like a normal day and their job was to grade cards and they graded your card at the assessment that it deserved? Wouldn't that be crazy?
Then I would know we are truly in bizarre.
If there wasn't a hot take on like every grade you've ever gotten.
If there wasn't a conspiracy behind every single grade you ever got.
Right.
What is this coming to?
What if your Kaboom Gold wasn't worth $1 million and it was just worth regular old 20 grand that it hit at auction? Wouldn't that be nuts?
Yes, it would. Okay, all right. Matt Mintz Cards says, what are your thoughts on Panini LeBron cards going into the season, such as the 2018 Optic Hollow or the 2016 Optic? Or thoughts on these cards in general as holds? since they are not rookies, but they are sought after cards.
That is the clever. That's like we need a little bell or like a fucking gong of like the clever, investment question of the night without being an investment. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Is that the one?
Yep.
I mean, God damn it, if I didn't get sucked into this, but I really like those optic cards that he's referencing. I've always liked them. The pop is relatively low. The prices on those have gone down so much that I kind of want to just buy like 100 of them. Like I love those cards. You and I always love those like optic. Fucking what was the other one that we liked? Mosaic, like those little off-ball ones that are like a tenth of the price, and the pops are like half. I love that stuff.
Agreed. And look, I think
I own none of them, by the way. I own none of those cards, by the way.
Fair, good. Yeah, neither do I. I think I think they're from the Panini era. The optic LeBron stuff is some of the most recognizable and iconic LeBron cards from the era.
Yep.
So,
His first ever. I know you have this card, so like cover your ears maybe. The first Prism Laker card being in a Cavs jersey, and then the 2016 optic having Kobe on the card, and like his 2018 optic him being in a Lakers jersey. I think those two things are important.
Totally. Also, I don't have the first Prism Cavs jersey, LeBron. That was a year or two before. I have the last. The last.
No, I know. I was just saying that the card says Lakers, but he's wearing a Cavs jersey.
Yes, it is not a Lakers uni card.
So it's like I was just pointing out that like the optic, it's not the first Laker jersey
during his Lakers year,
but it's his first like main product where he's wearing a Laker jersey.
Totally. Good. Yeah, I think those optic cards, and plus like, especially earlier years of optic, Panini now knows that optic has become a key player.
Mm-hmm.
But if we can remember back 2 years ago or so, optic was not a key player, and the print runs were much smaller.
That's right. Same with it's like football, dude. I bet you in 2 years Prism football is gonna be like basketball of 2019, where it's like, oh my god, there's like a fucking million base cards, there's a trillion silvers. There's like 47 parallels, and it's ruined. So, like, 2018 football, 2019 football, even 2020 football Prism is pretty rare compared to basketball.
Well said. All right.
Rare.
Flippity flip cards. It says, hypothetical grading question. Would you rather submit a Grail with a PC, a Grail PC card, with a 100% chance of getting a PSA 9, or a 50-50 shot of PSA 10 or PSA 6?
The gambler in me is like, fucking, let's roll this dice, baby.
It's PC, right? So if it's PSA 6, oh well.
I don't care.
If it's PSA 10, we hit the jackpot.
That's why I'm leaning that way, because I'm like, You know how this is, I was thinking about this earlier today. It's completely unrelated, but not really. You know how, like, when people get, like, the Kobe refractor that has no green, they totally call it out. And they're like, this card has no green. It's fucking amazing. It's perfect. And when it does have green, they're like, it's still pretty good. Like, I mean, look at this thing. Like, it's still the Kobe. I feel like that. So what I'm saying is, like, I would roll the dice, go for the 10 or the 6. Even if I get the 6, I'm going to be like, you know what? Who cares? It's the PC. But if I get a 10, I'm really going to be like, look at this shit, man. 10. Whereas the 9, it's like, yeah, I got, it's a 9.
Yep. So you're telling me that we should crack out our 4 McCaffrey 9s and fire those off and play the odds.
But also, no, because it has to be 6, because 6 is Josh's number. So even if
There
he
you go.
doesn't get the 10, he's like, well, numerically, I have an extra 6 in my PC.
See? Most people wouldn't even pick up on the fact that 6 is my favorite number, but you guys, Aaron Jones. So what's your answer? Sorry, what's yours?
PSA 9.
God, you fucking. Oh yeah, Mr. Prism Gold, McCaffrey Quad PSA 9. Fucking golly.
Oh, Podcorn
Have a
asked,
little.
Podcorn asked a good question. Is it coming back in a 6 condition?
I like that we just brushed over that. Like the fact that like, how is it possible that it's either a 10 or 6?
We are taking for granted the fact that PSA apparently has no idea what they're doing. So
That's the best part of the question. Like, it just like totally points out the fact that we don't care about like the condition of the card itself, and it's just like, what's the grid?
no doubt. Black Jade Wolf says everyone is optimistic when it's a card they own. So true. That's definitely like been a theme tonight. Somehow it comes out.
Yeah, if it's my card, that's one of my favorite jokes. And mostly internally, I don't really like post this very often, but if it's my card, it's worth a ton. If it's your card, it fucking is overvalued and it sucks.
I think that's just the starting point for any negotiation in the hobby.
Right? It's like, oh, last comp was 2,000, so clearly mine is worth 6 now because it's been a month.
If you like take it to the extreme, you have like two guys, like let's say one guy's got like a BGS 9 Jordan rookie, one guy's a PSA 9, and they want to swap the cards. So they do a trade at like $1 million trade value. Like we just made $1 million trade. What cards did you trade? Well, my BGS 9 for his PSA 9. Okay. I think a lot of trades are happening at like very inflated. That's why we don't do private deals that involve trades. Because like,
But isn't the guy with the PSA? I was gonna expand on your joke, which is that the PSA 9 guy's like, mine's PSA, it's clearly more valuable. But the BGS guy's like, my subs are better, and you know the subgrade, so like clearly mine is more valuable.
make it just ratchets up. Like, okay, well maybe yours is worth 15, but mine's 20. Okay, well maybe your subs are 20, but then I'm 25, and before you know it, the card's value just to the moon. And then
Just like, and they're both just like, did you see that Brady Select Gold just sell for $7,000? Clearly, Michael Jordan is better than Brady, so I think both of us need to pump our values up.
Like, all right, I'll say your 9 is worth 50 because of the
Right.
Brady sale, but my subs, bro, 55.
Whenever I'm doing a trade, and that sort of like, when I'm doing a trade and that sort of scenario is playing out where the other person is like clearly just like way, overinflating their value, I'm like, yeah, whatever, I get it. You're just a crazy person. Let's talk about the trade. Like, what are the actual cards we want to move? It's like values aren't real anymore. You're just making shit up.
Right, and it is a question that people come with is like, if somebody's like valuing their card for 2x comps on a trade,
Right.
should I value my stuff for 2x comps on a trade too?
Right, you should.
Yes, you should. Yes, you should.
The great MC Sports Cards, Mike Kantz, one of the GOATs. Man, he can handle an airport negotiation. But anyway, he posted a story and he was like, he's selling something and he said like, serious inquiries only, because he probably gets a lot of garbage offers. And then he like made a follow-up story and he said something like, no, I'm not going to take your value of your card at 5x market. I'm sorry. It's like, he's clearly just getting like bombarded with trade offers of like, what? That card is not worth that.
Well, all right. That's a pretty good topic to end on here. I didn't.
Oh no. We got a 4-hour show tonight. We got to make up for. And you're in Vegas. Like, I can't believe we've gone this far in the show and you haven't said what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas. It's like a total myth on your part.
Nothing has happened in Vegas yet to stay in Vegas.
I'm adding cards. Those stay on card ladder.
See? So she's got that handled. We got the show.
The bellhop was bringing up our bags like at the exact moment I pushed live. It was crazy that the timing worked out as well as it. Nothing has happened in Vegas yet to stay in Vegas.
I need 15 more minutes. I don't care what you say.
We can do 15 more
Not
minutes.
drink the hotel water because they'll overcharge you for the bottle.
Well, good bellhop. Okay, so 15 minutes for the Vegas special. I'll see if we can get through every question. I think we can.
Oh, yeah.
Really get through. Okay.
The only reason I said that, Chris, I got one more.
Let's go. Okay. All right. So
Those where I'm
underdog
gonna fall asleep
cards.
tonight.
Underdog Cards wants to know, do you collect baseball? Why or why not? Just wondering. It doesn't seem to be discussed much.
He's definitely caught on to us. I think the people are onto us, Chris. We don't talk about things we don't like. Damn. He probably also figured out we don't collect F1. Arrgh.
Or hockey. Or anything that's not basketball or football, pretty much.
Anything that's not like immediately our own thing, or Aaron Jones, we don't talk about.
Pretty much. Sorry. I wish we had more things to offer in baseball. Baseball seems like it's in a really interesting place right now.
Baseball has, sorry to cut you off, baseball has Mickey Mantle, fucking Ken Griffey, it's got Pujols, and they have got a ton of young prospects who are very exciting. I know a lot of guys like Juan Soto, Ronald Acuna. You've got Mike Trout, who's potentially going to be taking over as one of the next, GOATs, Mickey Mantle. You've got Shohei Ohtani, who's bringing a ton of excitement. You've got the whole, are pitchers valuable, similar to, running backs, receivers? Should I be buying pitchers? Baseball's got all these same plot lines that we've got, fucking go ham on it. Tatis, Vladimir Guerrero Jr., come on, bro.
Do you want to know how I know nothing about baseball collecting? Because pitchers seem like the most appealing position to me to collect. And
They're the cheapest.
Okay, well, that's a great perk. Okay, so if you collect a starting pitcher, you only have to watch them play about once every 5 to 8 days, or maybe depending on the rotations, maybe once every week and a half to 2 weeks. A starting pitcher is going to pitch maybe 30 to 40 games, which is more than an NFL season, but less than an NBA season. And the starting pitcher is the center of the action of every play, every play. So you are on the edge of your seat, every ball, every strike. And, those guys can be super dominant when they're at their best.
This is the investment advice bell that I'm ringing right now. I feel like you're hitting that. You're the guy that comes in with the outside perspective, and you're pointing out flaws and people who are entrenched in it, and you're like, bro, fucking pitchers, and you just made a great argument.
All I'm saying is there's probably a very good reason why it didn't work out that way. Probably a very, very good reason. But me just looking at what I know about the sport, and I've always been partial to pitchers. I played pitcher, could not hit at all. Was not a good pitcher either, but that's neither here nor there. Something about pitchers is appealing to me. If I were to do baseball, I don't know. I'd probably go down a stupid rabbit hole and collect pitcher. So,
are you saying on this show, crossover episode 5 million, that pitchers are a good investment?
No, definitely not saying that. But I'm thinking Black Jaded Wolf. Here's the top 5 positions going up.
To the moon.
Okay, Black Jade Wolf says, are pitchers really quarterbacks? See, I kind of see it that way.
Oh, see, you didn't say it, but you said it.
Okay, now we're getting even closer. Yeah,
You're valued. God, you're such a pump artist, man. You're hiding behind these guys of Aaron Jones, I love you, but no, you're just all about pumping that fucking next pump.
And then sitting right beside me is this giant stack of Verlander rookie cards just ready to unload.
And guys, don't forget, this dude's in Vegas right now just gambling his life savings away, so I don't even believe a word you hear about, anything he says.
And if you just see, Tim Lincecum cards spilling out of my backpack at the show, don't even worry about that.
Selling them from your mom's eBay account.
Whoa! Shut up.
My mom collects pictures, bro, not me.
Hey, I have to say this. The curtains in your background are the same as Brent in my interview with him when he was in Vegas.
I put the camera on, I noticed that. I was like,
you know what I'm talking about? He was in Vegas for that. Yep.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yep, that's the Vegas curtains.
Wow. Okay, well, let's. No comments. I just won't even. Yep. Good. I'm honored. Look at Otani. You got the best of both worlds there.
There you go.
Sure.
I can't name 5 pitchers. That's the part that we struggle with.
And it's sort of like a running back thing, where like you're a legend one season and you're irrelevant the next.
Isn't Jacob deGrom pretty good?
Yep. And I see his cards were setting highs.
Really?
Yep. I mean, we've got Jason deGrom in card ladder.
Dude, again, if I liked baseball in an alternate universe, I would collect the fuck out of some of these guys, and I would show you how to do it. I'd get their Topps Chrome, whatever. That's the other thing, Chris. We don't even know what the top cards are of those guys. That's the problem. Like, we can't just sit here and spew BS and pretend like we know, like, hey, here's what you should be looking at for baseball, because we don't even know what cards you should be buying. Like, we don't know the RPA equivalent. We don't know the gold prism equivalent. We don't even know. It might not even be that. It might be the red fucking Topps Chrome refractor.
So here is Topps update. Jacob
Topps
deGrom,
update.
PSA 10, just paper, and here's the graph. The card. It got as high in April. It was up there near $1,000, and now it's selling at around $450.
So it's like his Fat Snack card says Pump Luis Robert. I love the grind. Isn't their Bowman Chrome autograph like their main one?
It's an important card, yeah.
It's like it's like not even their rookie card. It's like their prospect.
The Bowman first, yes.
The Bowman? Okay. There you go. The Trout, where it's like, there's like fucking nobody in the stands behind him. He's like not even in the majors yet. Yeah.
Yep. There you go. There, we just...
At least there's rules. Like, I like boundaries and rule. Like, to your point earlier, you're not just going to buy a random $500 whatever the hell card. There's got to be rules and boundaries around what's like accepted in this lane.
Yep. I've reached the total limit of anything I can say on baseball cards. So we'll go on here to the next. The chat is chiming in.
I think you need to give your top 5 baseball investments. Right. You got to do it, man. You fucking came this far.
You got to subscribe for those, boys.
How have we not talked about VHS yet? Do you have a VHS question?
No, 0 VHS questions. 0. But I'll tell you, there's a smart guy on Clubhouse who comes on and he talks about why he's getting involved in VHS. He said he's that's just funny right out the gate.
Yeah, it's really funny. Just like why he's getting involved in VHS. You can't even get that sentence out. And sorry to that person. You might be really smart. You're right. Keep going.
Okay, so the guy spent $50,000 on VHS so far. He says it's not a material position for him, and he says that if his thinking is if WADA or CCG makes a mold for VHS, then he's going to make a ton of money.
That was why. Remember when I was looking at video games and I was like, the only reason I'm even looking at this is because there's grading and there's an actual authority in the space that's like, yeah, this is the game. Here's the specifics of it. Here's the barcode where you can scan it, and here's some detail. Like, you have to have some sort of authority, otherwise, like, it's just total mayhem. So I understand. I understand that part of it.
Hardcorn points out that they already do have VHS grading. This is
true. But it's like a shit grading company, right? Or it's like
called investment grading.
No.
And there's another one. There's another one. I don't know.
So the problem is, Chris, honestly, the problem, here's why video games worked. Like, for real. There was an actual, serious group of people that collected sealed video games for a really long time. And there was a grading company that's been around for a long time. It's called VGA. and it's like a serious grading company. It's an actual hobby. It has been around for a while. There are people who collect sealed video games, and then the WADA thing came up and legitimized it just further. Whereas the whole VHS thing is like very, very, very new. There's like nothing established. There's no authority. There's no like group of like long-term collectors determining the market and, you know, establishing like which are the proper ones to collect and why and stuff. So like it's just totally new.
So I'm being told that this is the grading company now in the space.
How old is that company?
FAQ. How old? Frequently asked questions. What? Why? Are my VHS tapes worth money?
Is this like, are the VHS tapes sealed?
Yes.
Okay. And it's like, you know, like Home Alone type shit?
Yeah, exactly. Or look, okay. There are.
Okay, school me.
I don't know much. All right.
Ninja Turtles.
Hold on.
Mario.
Hey, she's getting excited over there about these VHS tapes.
There are rookie movies.
Oh, give me a fucking shirt. This is fucking ridiculous.
Like Adam Sandler has a rookie movie. Chris Rock has a rookie movie. Anybody, you name it, they have a rookie movie. And then, you know, there's ways to sort out the issue of resealing and stuff. Lion King, Grease. Yeah, there are iconic movies for sure. There are definitely iconic. And look, you know, Nick, my brother, has a massive wall of Blu-rays. Of course, they're all opened, and he watched them all. But there's definitely something collectible about movies. There's something collectible about albums and music as well. Movie ladder, Terminator, VHS ladder. Make sure you only buy collector's edition. Yeah.
I'm waiting for the DVD thing because when I was
Christina's waiting for DVD grading.
yes, because when I was like a late teen, I would always go to like Target and Walmart and those like $2 bins. I would buy like 10 movies that I never watched.
Okay.
So they're all. I'm waiting. It's gonna happen.
Christina's sitting on a gold.
Can I say something on this topic? I got something to blow your mind.
All right.
Here's why video game collecting and card collecting is a thing and VHS is not, because you might be thinking, oh, it's not that different from whatever. The difference, though, is that video game collecting and card collecting is kind of, it's always been seen as more of like those hobbies are like more niche and more like rebellious, and it's like more like nerdy type groups that we make our own rules and we do this thing. Whereas movies, fucking everybody watches movies, right? Like every fucking guy, every person ever has watched these movies, and there's no rules, and it's just people trying to make money. Maybe it's just like a total shot in the dark. That's my take.
Yeah, well, I haven't heard a lot of VHS collectors, you know, talk about holding the mold for the long term.
Vinyl records.
There definitely is a
People are collecting album like CDs and stuff now, like sealed like NSYNC CDs and shit.
Dude.
Christina, find me the rookie Justin Timberlake sealed album. That's the fucking one right there.
On it. It's gonna
Yeah.
show up at your door. I'm gonna buy it right now. It's gonna show up at your door.
Chris listens to only like one type of music we've determined, and he doesn't know anything about music. We need that JT rookie album.
We need that.
Justified.
You know,
Justified.
there was a clubhouse room late one night about a month or two ago that was a whole scheme was hatched for how to grade CDs. A CD grading company.
I think you and I are just on the ground floor, and all these other suckers are going to miss out on graded CDs. Sealed.
Graded CDs.
Justified.
Yes.
Is that his first album, Christina? Justified?
No, it's NSYNC.
No, a solo.
Solo.
No, it don't. No, if you want his rookie album, it would have to be rookie NSYNC.
No. Solo.
He wants the rookie solo.
I want the rookie. I don't want the freaking like dual auto. I want the...
True. And, is that like an XRC? If it's like an NSYNC,
Oh.
right? Or an
Yep.
NSYNC album, but that's the
He's like frantically like Wikipediaing his like solo albums.
No, Justified would be his first.
that's what he said. That's what he said. God, I'm trying so hard to just take this seriously.
That's why I said Justified.
That's what he said. He said Justified.
Yeah,
And NSYNC was the minor leagues.
I'm telling
NSYNC was the Bowman.
it's like Prospect CD.
Christina says his NSYNC is like his Bowman first.
Yeah, she said it first. I want it that way. That's right. Man, this is like hour 3, like total shit topic area.
I
How far are you guys in Office?
in Office. We're done with Office. We're done.
You're on
with
Parks and Rec.
Office. We're done. What do you mean? Oh shit! I'm sorry. I went away for a little while.
You're on Parks and Rec. You're on Parks and Rec?
We finished Parks and Rec.
Oh my god, you guys. Are you even adding cards over there? You're just watching TV.
Josh Luger wants to know if he is on the wrong IG live. You may be. You may be.
So wait, you told me that when you finished Parks and Rec, you were going to start Silicon Valley.
That's up next. That's definitely up
I
next.
told you to see it, man.
Why would you say that? We haven't started anything else. We have not started anything yet.
I'm your accountability buddy. I'm your Aaron Jones. You better fucking watch that show.
That's definitely up next. There is nothing else in the queue.
Then what are you watching right now? Fucking VHS tapes? What are you watching?
We're not watching anything right now. Why do you're looking at me like weird? Like there's
You
some
keep-
secret show that we're watching. There's
You
no
keep looking over there. You
I
keep
know.
looking over at her of like, tell me what we're watching. Look at me.
I don't know why she's being so coy about this.
You guys are like watching some secret show. I'm on to you. You guys are watching.
I'm like, what's the secret show we're watching? And
You're like fucking hiding some show. You're watching like fucking like Dancing with the Stars or something, and you don't want to tell me.
You started watching something on HBO.
what did I start watching?
HBO Max that you told me that like I had to queue up for you.
I love HBO Max. What is it?
I don't
What is it?
remember.
No. We were
Silicon
trying to find
Valley.
that show.
Silicon Valley is on HBO.
Oh yeah, and then we went. Yeah, no, he's right. He's right. Hey, I've been driving the past 3 days.
God, I want to buy you guys a private jet.
What did you
Okay.
say?
You gonna
Flash
buy one, a
poll.
card letter?
Flash poll in the hobby right now is taking a private jet to a sports card show. Is that good options? Is that good options? Yes or no?
Wait, can we legitimately find it in the budget to buy a card ladder private jet?
No, that's such a waste of money. Those things are money pits.
You got like legit mad.
I looked up how much money do you think it costs to get like a lower end private jet if you were renting?
One ride.
It's
Yeah,
not
they
that
they
expensive.
they measure it per hour.
Ooh, wait, hold on. Let me guess. Don't tell me.
Yeah.
Is this like okay? So this is like the people that are taking him to the shows, like from Arizona to fucking Chicago, right? Like a normal flight.
Right.
I'm gonna pretend like I'm not drunk and I'm gonna figure this out. Hold on.
Some chats are coming, or the chat is coming
Is
in.
it per hour? Are you
It's per
wanting
hour.
me to say per
Per
hour?
hour.
Okay.
Maybe 6K per hour, 10K per hour, 5K. What did you say?
Oh, those are the guesses. Okay, hold on. Let me give you the actual
20K.
answer.
Oh shit!
Let me give you the actual answer. These guys are dumb.
We have no respect for our chat.
it's 10K per hour.
10K per hour. Okay, so the answer is between 1,500 and 3,000 per hour.
That's cheap, bro. That's cheap.
That's
a
not.
deal.
I know. When I saw that, I was like, okay, so maybe some guys splurge like 8.
That's not even that much. That's like a freaking. It's like one fucking Space Jam sealed movie.
So maybe one
That's
guy.
really it. Is that like a shit? Is that like a Spirit fucking private jet, or is that like a good one?
This is a figure from 2019.
Okay, well, I mean, dude, like NFTs are worth like 100 times what it was. It could be like way more.
The appreciation on this is from July of 2020. According to private jet charter company Air Charter Service, you can expect to pay between $1,300 and $3,000 per hour to charter a turboprop or a smaller jet plane, which typically seats 4 to 6.
Does that include like, the bullshit of like getting your bags in the plane and all that garbage?
I don't know.
Yes.
If you're renting the plane per hour,
You rent the plane.
Aren't private?
It's not
Aren't
like
they?
you have to pay an extra fee for a bag when you're in
No.
freaking plane, Josh.
I know. I'm talking about like the time that like the plane is like, like wheels up to landing, or is it like all the bullshit of?
No, it would be security, like safety check of the plane.
That's what I was
I don't
saying.
know.
That's all I'm
What are you, some expert on chartering private jets?
saying. Guys,
He's speaking very authoritatively on this.
we spend a good portion of our card ladder budget on private jets.
They actually, you can get them even cheaper because return flights.
Okay, well, all right, let me go on.
Hold on, aren't these private jets faster? Like, I could get to Chicago in 2 hours, right?
Yeah, and plus you have to figure like jet fuel is a part of that cost. So like you can't have the same wheels up cost as like
Dude.
preparation costs.
Plus, you don't have
Are
to
we
pay
just
for
like?
big security.
Let's just break this down. How much did you guys spend on a rental car and the gas and the time spent? Like,
Yep,
if you just bought a private jet, you guys would be there chilling.
we're several grand, like $2,000 for the car for 2 weeks.
I've freaking gotten round trip tickets for private jet jet company. Like, you guys.
We could have been fucking flying in with the flashy private jet.
You're gonna have the selfies outside the plane. You guys missed a ton of content too.
We show a picture of us with a private jet and we're like, oh, this is extravagant. Actually, this is cheaper, guys. This is the economic way.
People might think we took 30 million in investment to be able to afford these private jet flights.
Yeah. And that wouldn't be the dumbest way to spend a 30 million sports car investment either. There's some dumber ways out there. So you know what? Here's my hot take. Like my little bloop bloop bloop. That's reasonable. Dude, when I looked up the price, I thought it was so stupid when I sent you the picture. I was like, is there anything dumber? But when I looked up the price, I was like, I could see some guy, it's his birthday or something. It's his birthday
Let's
weekend.
go.
I'm taking a private jet to a sports card show with my Pelican.
You know what?
Days.
My new life goal, my like very immediate life goal, like short of getting cards, is that the card ladder team takes a private jet to the next show, and we make it a big deal. Like it's like Nick films it, and it's like content, and we got like champagne on the flight, and it's like this whole like snakes on a plane kind of thing. It's just like this big thing.
And people are there, like the hobby's there, waiting for us when we like climb out of the plane, and they're all screaming.
Red carpet
Yeah.
unrolls.
Yeah, like paparazzi.
It's basically just like Shay and Brett, like, yeah.
All right. So also, between 4,000 to 8,000 per hour for a mid-sized jet.
Oh, so that's just the small one.
Yeah, that's 4 to 6 people is between $1,300 and $3,000. And small planes are not pleasant to fly on either.
That's your opinion.
They get very turbulent. Mid-size is between $4,000 and $8,000.
So this is like Uber and Uber Black.
Yeah. Yes. And then between $8,000 and $13,000 for larger private jets that seat 14 to 19 people. It's like So if you want to take a 6-hour cross-country private flight, small jet, about $15,000. Mid-size, about
6-hour flight?
about
What the
$30,000.
fuck, you flying to fucking Maine or something from California?
Cross country.
That's LA to
New York. LA to New York. large private jet, 65 grand for the one. So it does start to like get up there. Depending on
We need to do more research. This isn't enough for me. I need like I need like exact dollar figures. I need pilots, licenses. I need sealed, video games. I need the whole thing.
we need a nice YouTube deep dive into
Yes.
the
I need like a
private
grading
jet.
company to tell me it's legit. Yeah.
We need a private jet passenger grading company. When we get our private jet tickets graded.
The tickets. Yep. Dude, I heard that ticket grading is huge right now.
We get the pilot's license graded.
Twitter,
That's a one.
Darren Ravel told me that I need to buy tickets.
Nah, he's on the VHS now, man.
Oh, yeah. Oh, are you kidding me? Are you serious?
No, dude, I am dead serious. He said VHS is the next asset class.
Asset class. Give me a fucking break. Oh, guys, I don't. What?
Yes, that ruffled some feathers.
I bet, because we've, like, the jig is up. We know you don't care about collecting them anymore. You're just trying to, like.
Pardcorn says, I'm buying a private jet once I sell this Adam Sandler VHS.
I walked away because you started talking about rookie movies and shit. But is that real?
Dude, yes, this is all 100%. This is happening right now.
Rookie Adam Sandler. What's his rookie movie? Fucking like Up a Creek, that Creek movie?
Billy Madison?
No, that's not his rookie. He made a movie before that. Yeah.
That's his first main title appearance.
That's
the
not.
other one's his XR.
No, it's not. No, it's not. No, it's not. There's one about him like Up Creek paddle something. I swear to God, there's another one.
See, look at what you know. You're already primed.
I'm a sealed VHS fucking.
Josh like opens the closet and all this sealed VHS shit.
Can you imagine? I'm just like, oh, look at this fucking, look at that, the first Barbra Streisand movie. I bet you didn't know about that one.
Clint Eastwood's rookie movie.
Right.
That's not.
See, here's the thing. Here's the other problem with VHS. Hello, like fucking a lot of the best movies of all time came out like on DVD and like not VHS. So, or like fucking Amazon Prime or Netflix.
Pardcorn says Overboard is.
Going overboard.
Thank you. Told you.
That might be a hot investment tip right there.
Bingo. Dude, you guys are sitting here buying fucking Billy Madison. Wrong.
But you got to know, like, look, even if you go buying these sealed games, like, how do you know it's not resealed? So there's certain tells, the seal has to have the same damage that the item has. Like, if the seal damage doesn't match to the item, it was probably resealed.
You know what I know, Chris? I need an Ultra Stars Gold Penny Hardaway. I need a 2007 Topps Chrome X-Fractor LeBron. I need a, I need a 07 limited logo, 08 limited logos LeBron. That's the real list.
Yeah, so suddenly that world seems so
silly.
Well, I was going to go
fucking
the option, but yes.
Stupid. VHS is where it's at. Billy Madison is the 04 Topps Chrome for me. Second year. That's like that's basically like a prism card basically. It's so old.
That's like the year he won the championship.
You know what?
There you go.
You know, if I was collecting VHS, I would just have a bunch of worthless sealed VHS of movies I like. I would have like the Sphere VHS.
What?
You ever watch Sphere?
What is that?
Writing book turned movie. It's a bad sci-fi movie.
I feel like Christina, this guy, like his media consumption is bad.
Dude, you would be the just another in a long line of
McGill's.
who have said that.
Like he only listens to rap and like weird VHS movies. Like what, dude?
Oh shit.
Yeah, Josh. Like, why do you think I don't listen to music anymore?
Yeah, like I send you my Spotify list, and you're like, "Oh my god, this is amazing." Chris sends you his, and you're like, "What the fuck, man?"
Ooh, Pardcorn knows. I have a very bad taste in movies. Like my top five is like Sphere.
Okay.
I like K-Pax. Oh, I can't remember the name of one of my favorite old sci-fi movies. It
So
basically,
far, over two.
if the movie is like sci-fi thriller, it's gonna be in my top
Exam.
whatever.
Like Alien,
No.
Alien's a little too mainstream.
Terminator.
No, it has to be like less than 30% on Rotten
Oh
Tomatoes.
yeah, if it doesn't have a terrible Rotten Tomatoes review, I probably don't love it.
So like this is like the equivalent of you collecting Bulbul.
No, not Bobo, because there's upside to Bobo. There's no upside to this. This is
So it's like collecting like
a very
Chauncey
niche,
Billups.
like Chauncey Phillips. Yeah, something like that. A very acquired taste.
You lost me.
Two moons? Or no, I'm sorry. Another Earth.
Another Earth.
2 moons. I've been on a live stream for way too long.
Okay, what's like your favorite movie that I've heard of?
The Dark Knight.
That's a good one. Okay. All right. You got my respect a little bit. Keep going. Name some more.
Oh man, there's this. Oh, Pandorum. Pandorum is a
Oh,
great.
no. Movies I've heard of. No.
Oh, like mainstream stuff. Well,
Yeah.
I love the gangster movies.
Yes.
Anything. Oh, Departed. I probably watched Departed.
Oh,
200
I love that movie. Yes.
Yeah.
Casino. Do you like the Robert De Niro
All
and
of them. Anything directed by
Scorsese?
Scorsese. Goodfellas, Casino.
Yes.
All that
Yes.
stuff.
Wolf of Wall Street. Do you like that
Never
movie?
seen Godfather.
Wolf of Wall Street's pretty good. Maybe
That's
I
my
need-
favorite movie of all time.
Maybe I need to watch it again.
You like this
Really?
Dude,
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. Number one of all time.
Wow.
That movie is so good.
That's a great scene. Hey,
The scene where he
I like. Yeah.
where he drives the Lamborghini and he thinks he gets it home safe, but then they show that he just like crashes it. It's like that's my favorite movie of all time.
Forever crossover.
What'd she say?
She said that's you after every crossover episode.
True. Like I just somehow find my way up to upstairs. Shawshank Redemption. Do you like that one?
Oh, who doesn't like Shawshank Redemption?
That's what I'm saying. Like I really like the whole, like if it's movies, I like the ones that win the awards, like the mainstream stuff. I'm lame, but whatever.
Shawshank Redemption was in the VHS era too, was it not?
Ah, yep.
So like, did the winner of the Academy Award for Best Picture, like, is there a premium? Is that like winning an MVP or something?
I went through a whole stretch, or like a year of my life, where I was just strictly watching movies that won or like were nominated and like should have won Academy Award for Best Film.
Mm-hmm. That was doable until about 2 or 3 years ago, when that category just got filled with bad movies. But it once was a much more enjoyable task.
Big Short. That's one of my favorite movies of all time. I love movies about like modern investing, stock market stuff. I love stuff like that.
Money Talks, yeah, good. It's a great movie. Morgan Freeman prison rookie card for
dude. Like how we're joking and stuff.
Castle? Speaking of prison movies, sorry.
I like that one.
Sorry.
We're joking, but I'm like frantically searching eBay for sealed movies.
Oh, just make sure you know how to
like
make sure the seal is good. That's all I know.
Okay, what does that mean? Who told you about that? What are you
guy
talking
in
about?
Clubhouse, man. This guy was like deep.
The same guy that told you like
yes,
fucking like rocks are a good investment?
No. This is a totally different guy. This guy was this.
No, this is totally
listen.
different
It's like a different guy who's like wears a different trench coat.
Listen, this guy was heavy into video games, and now all his video games are at auction, and he's going into VHS because he's planning that the grading companies are gonna make a mold for VHS, and then he's.
What's he buying?
Damn, I don't know.
Super Mario.
Oh, the Super Mario movie. The Super Mario Brothers movie apparently is.
Come on, no, that's a joke.
Dude,
keep going. Terminator.
His theory is that like all the video game guys are going into VHS now, so like they're gravitating to that.
So like, let's get serious. Mario, that movie was shit. It's like a real. You gotta find the real movie.
I know that's not a real freaking movie. That's crazy, but
That movie was a joke. You gotta find like The Sixth Sense or like. Let's keep thinking. What's like a big fucking Adam Sandler's actually that's a pretty good idea. Like the Adam Sandler movies for sure. Like Happy Gilmore stuff like that.
First print Monster Squad.
Toy Story.
Goonies.
Toy Story. There you go. Now we're thinking.
Goonies.
Blue Chips.
Because part of the theory is you have to think about stuff that like guys in their 40s want.
Girls Gone Wild VHS. Grant makes a late appearance. Look at this guy.
We've had a lot of hour 3 comments from legends. Like I saw Lameme in the comments earlier too.
Did Ken make an appearance tonight?
No Ken.
You said Luber was here, right?
Yep, yes he was.
Dude, all the legends drop in for at least 5 minutes.
Like what the fuck? These guys are talking about VHS.
All the NFT bros dropped in just to make sure we didn't shit on them too hard.
But I feel like we actually did go kind of hard on NFTs.
You went pretty hard on them, bro. You
I
were
went
pretty
hard
mean.
on NFTs, man. I had to get it off my chest.
You ain't a seal. Oh, dude, look at this guy, Publius, one of my favorite commenters. You ain't a penny collector without a seal. IG has 9.5 blue chips. Oh, that's hilarious.
Oh, blue chips.
Zoolander.
Right. Yeah, totally. Blue chips.
Zoolander. That's a good one.
IGS stands for investment grading service, by the way.
Is that for real? That's a real. Oh, you're right. Okay.
That's a real thing.
Grandma's Boy, Zoolander. These are good. These are great. Mean Girls, Christina. That's a fucking good movie. Dude, Christina knows more about pop culture than Chris, like 10x at least.
Dude,
Yeah, that says something too.
an NFT of a rock knows more about pop culture than me.
It's like, it's scary how little you know about pop culture.
I didn't even get Office references until a few months ago.
Thank God. Jesus Christ, I needed to tell you exactly what to do and watch and consume.
Did Josh fall
Oh.
on the couch?
No,
I'm on the
he
ground.
migrated to the ground.
I'm on the ground.
We will not be accepting submissions for 2 weeks. Damn.
Dude, they're like the HGA of fucking grading because like they're backed up now.
Why choose us, the leading experts? Oh no.
That's worse.
No
Acrylic.
odd case. Number 4. Number 4 is no odd case size.
Okay,
That's
Chris,
strong.
stop what you're doing and show me a sealed VHS right now. Like I want to see what it looks like.
Like the slab?
Sure. Oh, yeah. Okay. There we go. Yeah. Oh, fucking pirates! Oh, wait, they grade video games too?
That's a DVD. Oh damn! Anything investable.
Hold on a second. Show me one on eBay.
I don't even know which.
eBay IGS Happy Gilmore. 8 Mile, dude. It's like people are just like naming random movies at this point.
Dude, 8 Mile's not a bad one.
That's not at all.
What
Fuck.
do you want me to say? Or,
IGS Adam Sandler. I don't know.
or IGS sealed VHS. There we go.
There we go. Go to price highest sort.
This is getting intense.
This is really good stuff. This is content you don't want to. What is that?
78K for the Goonies.
Wait, go to sold. This is bullshit. Go to sold.
Hold on. Scroll. There we go.
Oh, Napoleon Dynamite? Hell yeah.
Oh yeah, that's a good movie.
Can I make a bold statement right now?
Yes.
This is fucking stupid.
I don't know, man.
Back to the Future. The what? $33,000?
No, dude, that's not 33,000.
Oh, that's eBay sold. Yeah, it's
that's
bullshit.
a best offer.
Go to auction then.
Yeah,
Go to auction.
you notice none of these are selling at auction.
Go to auction.
Let's go to auction.
What's that? What is that? Blade Runner.
Blade
Give me a break.
Runner, Embassy Factory, sealed, ready to
It's
submit.
raw. It's raw.
Raw. Blade Runner Raw, 5K.
What is that one?
What, this?
Muppet movie. This is bullshit, dude.
The
Give me a
Muppet
fucking
movie,
break.
bro.
What is that one? What's that one?
Bloodsport.
Dude, this is a total Wild West. This is nightmare. Like the actual highest graded sale is $1,800. This is total Wild West. What even is that? What? Is that like Jean-Claude Van Damme rookie card or some shit?
It probably is.
This is stupid.
Well, they got subgrades. They got corners, edges, and surface. Then they grade the box and the seal. So the box.
Bloodsport. I've never even heard of this movie. I'm sorry, people.
Oh, I've heard of Bloodsport.
I bet you have. Van Damme rookie.
I've seen Bloodsport a long time ago. Oh,
How old are you, man?
No, I was watching on the live.
Oh, you saw it. Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, this is the next acid class.
Stupid. Batman. That's pretty good.
Dude, that Batman box art looks kind of cool.
Let me ask you something. Should I sell all my cards and just go all in on this?
Dude, Fat Snacks wants to know, do you live in a fucking WHOLE? Do you live in a hole?
Me?
Not the wrong hole. That's
Hey, I have a serious question.
okay. This fucking pisses me off. Stop.
When people do it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. What's your question, bud? Sorry.
Have you ever in your entire life seen a HGA 10?
No.
Dude, every time I see one, it's like like Tua, like green mosaic HGA 9. It's never a 10. I've never even seen one.
Well, they must be tough then. Must be.
Ooh, Fight Club?
Fight-
All right, for real. How come you have so much hair?
It must be. It's like an optical illusion of some kind. It's my new backdrop, man. Everything looks better with the new backdrop.
Give the people a tour of your head.
No. The screen, the camera would shatter upon that tour. We're dangerously close to dropping below 50.
Oh, that's bad, dude.
We've
That's
never
really bad.
We've never gotten this low before ever.
Because you're
When
talking
Nick-
about fucking VHS tapes.
When Nick uploads this video, tell him to cut it after like a long time ago.
Yeah. All right. Good. Let's cut it now. All right. We still got stuff to do tonight. This was probably set the record for the longest crossover ever. Close.
False. We used to do 3 hours, no problem.
Well, fucking A. Then we got some stamina to build back up here.
I might just fall asleep right where I'm at right here.
Then you'll be just like Jordan Belfort.
Explain that to your son in the morning. Why is Daddy sleeping on the floor?
He's seen worse.
All right.
Are you guys coming here? Are you guys driving here?
Well, we'll have to see. You should drive here. See you tomorrow, Black Jaded. You should come in for one of them meetings we got next week.
Yeah.
He's a son of a bitch.
Wait, Josh needs to know what movies to buy.
Dude,
Gotta
that's how you
read
know.
the lines, man.
That's how you know this show has gone way too long. It's like 3 a.m. and Luber's on here listening to our weird content.
Dude, Luber's gonna end up with like the first $1 million
VHS
game. Just gonna be an Instagram story. Yep, bought the right movie, guys. And
Are you guys coming here?
Looking like idiots. Huh?
You guys should drive down here.
Down or up?
Down.
Well, I mean, you're down.
Well,
Chris is the worst fucking sense of direction in the world.
oh, it's really bad.
He's like,
awful.
wait, Arizona is like in Canada? Jesus, man.
No, we drove through Arizona.
We did.
Because we came from Louisiana.
Are you serious? You're like, we drove through this city called Chandler. Ever heard of it?
No, you're south. a good like 3 hours from that point.
Here's the thing. Here's the thing. Chris told me to my textual face that you drove like 6 hours out of the way to get a fucking card.
It was not 6 hours.
Oh, how far away was it?
It was 5.
5. You did. I rounded it up. You said 5, but guess how far away Arizona is from Vegas?
4.
5. He says 5. Although we only spent about 10 minutes in Louisiana.
Well, if you spent 10 minutes here, I would be very highly offended.
Yeah, exactly. We come down to
Like, hey.
we have to stay for at least 3 days.
Yep, that's true. That's true.
You guys got meetings. You guys got important meetings, though. I can't keep you from those.
We have a few meetings. Okay, all right. I'm calling it here. I'm looking at a folder full of pendants.
Yeah, I've added like 12 cards.
12?
I really
Surprised you're not done. You do your best work when people are all up in your junk.
When people are talking, yeah. I've always figured, like, is Josh looking at how many pendants are left?
I'm not looking. Look at it, dude. I'm not doing anything.
Oh, fuck, we went under 50. All right, I'm calling it here.
Oh, you just dropped your first F-bomb of the night. That means it's over.
That means we're done. All right, guys. See everybody next week.
Card Ladder, the best sports card app on the market. The future of sports cards is here. Card Ladder is the 21st century price guide and market analysis tool for sports cards. The best tools to help you track your cards. Watch the trends, stay informed, compare cards, and track the growth of your personal collection, all in one simple and intuitive platform. Join the innovators, not the imitators. The future is here. The future is now. Card Ladder.